Have you or a loved one been injured in an accident? Are you struggling to recover fair compensation? Look no further. At Phillips Law Firm, the experienced personal injury attorneys will fight for your rights and get you the justice and compensation you deserve. They handle a wide range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, medical malpractice, and workplace injuries. Justice is a phone call away, so don't wait. Call today for a free case review. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
It's after bedtime, the kids are asleep, and the moms are out to play.
We're Dina and Kristen, the duo behind the Instagram account Big Little Feelings. I'm Dina. I'm a child therapist and mom of two who nerds out on all things neurobiology and psychology. And Kristen is a parent coach who wrangles 3 kids on a daily basis, here to give it to us like it is.
We weren't meant to do this parenting thing alone. Consider After Bedtime your village.
Follow After Bedtime with Big Little Feelings on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Want more Men's Room content? Follow the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app and check out my live stream, A Moment with Mike Hawk and Nothing in Particular with Steve the Thrill Hill. Going live Thursdays and Fridays at 1 exclusively on the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 18, episode number 3966. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery! And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, Men's Room Shout of the Day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Tim.
Clack, clack.
Drinking and drunk. All right, here we go. Tennessee man pulls out an AK-47 when his Little Caesars pizza takes too long to cook.
Machine gun.
Meanwhile, video catches Miami TSA agents going through bags and all of the things that they took. Volunteers offer to head to Portugal to help drink the streets. Electronic road sign in Houston suggests taking care of yourself underneath the sheets. And a carjacker attempts to flee from police before crashing into their office. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, you ever been to a pool and they tried to see how long you could hold your breath underwater? My kids love to do it, and so did a man in Florida. Now, he was at a backyard pool, stayed underwater for 5 or 6 minutes. Luckily for him, the 12-year-old kid that was with him recognized that 5 to 6 minutes was suspiciously long, and the kid was right. He pulled the man out of the water and saved his life after administering CPR. The kid, by the way, learned CPR from a scene on the TV show Stranger Things. But whatever, he saved the man's life. But sometimes people need saving. In New York City, a 74-year-old man was pushed onto the subway tracks for absolutely no reason. A witness sprang into action, pulled the man back up to the relative safety of the platform. And sure, the man suffered a fractured spine and 5 broken ribs, but it's better than being hit by and driven over by a train. Scary stuff. But less scary than being trapped in an unexplored cave 3,675 feet below the ground for 12 days by yourself. That's what cave explorer Mark Dickey just went through in Turkey. It took 200 rescuers from 8 countries to rescue his ass. But it's not just humans that need rescue. In Rhode Island, a couple were scuba diving when they came to the rescue of a baby shark that had gotten its head stuck in a work glove. Now, sure, it sounds stupid, but animals just love getting their heads trapped in things. In England, a bull went headfirst into a sinkhole. Now, with the help of some heavy equipment, the animal was pulled as first out of the hole, and it was saved and returned to his herd. But today we're talking about your inner superhero, or maybe you witnessed someone else's inner superhero, or maybe someone was a superhero for you. Today, we're talking about rescue, saving something, seeing that something's wrong, and doing something about it. Today's question is, who needed yours or someone else's help?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-803-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
At OXO, there's a recipe for innovation. We create products that put a new spin on form and function. Add a small measure of convenience, a peel of comfort, and just a pop of freshness. Because no matter what you're making, we want to make it better. OXO. Better. Guaranteed.
Debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Oh, but tell us where we go. Welcome to Season 18, episode number 3,966. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, I don't know how you find people doing bad stuff in the news, but I know you do a lot of digging.
Oh, it takes forever, man.
We come up with 3 stories. We pit them up against each other to determine out of the 3 stories which one sucks the least. How brutal is this week's Who Sucks Less?
I mean, brutal's not the right word, but I think all 3 stories will just piss you off.
As far as people's behaviors?
Yeah, people's behavior or what they feel they're entitled to, or not just what you're entitled to, the fact that sometimes the court sides with you and you get your entitlement.
Okay. Who Sucks Less is coming up. Of course, you get more Men's Room every Monday through Friday exclusively on the Odyssey app. Join us for the Men's Room Happy Hour and episode number 460 coming up. If you don't have the Odyssey app, download it now. It is absolutely free. You can find all things Men's Room in one location on the Men's Room page. Everything from the Men's Room radio station. Get a chance to put our own music on there. Podcast, and I know you got a new Megacast and the podcast out, right?
Correct. Taped the podcast last night and Megacast out today.
Greatest Story Never Told podcast. We have a podcast that we do that's basically a condensed version of the best moments from the show for each and every week. It's only 5 minutes long. It's easy if you want to catch up on the best of the Men's Room for that week by checking out that podcast as well. And of course, listen to the show anywhere with the Odyssey app. So more Men's Room coming up with the Men's Room Happy Hour. By the way, that channel is going 24 hours now.
Yeah.
If you happen to click on that, they're going to get some of our better segments from over the years. And today on the question, we kind of spring into action a bit and maybe give some help, or maybe you were given help situationally, depending on what was going on, who needed your or someone else's help. And we start with a story of a 12-year-old boy down in Florida, Austin McMillan. He was swimming with his behavioral therapist in a backyard pool when the therapist decided to see how long he could hold his breath underwater. Thing is, he did not come back up. It was like 5 to 6 minutes, and he was under the water. And I was like, that's way too long. He can't do that, said Austin, who jumped into action to save the man and is now being called a hero. A surveillance camera captured the boy from Wellington, Florida, pulling Jason Paquette's limp body from the pool's deep end before running to get help, which he did not find, by the way. So instead, Austin returned to the pool and began administering CPR. He said, I saw it on TV, specifically a scene from Stranger Things.
I'm glad he watches the show.
After I gave him CPR, he woke up a few minutes later. That was just as Austin's dad returned home and called 911. Paquette tells ABC that he was likely underwater for just 30 seconds when he passed out, and I don't know why. I'm just amazed at how strong he was and how wise he was in that moment. He said of Austin, I wouldn't be alive if it was not for him. He's an absolute hero, and he always will be. Austin advises other people in a situation to stay calm, try to learn from the situation, and help the person. They note his family has since hosted a CPR class for family and friends so that they can all be ready to save a life in a similar situation.
Think they just put on Stranger Things? Hey, watch this scene.
Does that seem like a long time to leave your buddy underwater?
5 or 6 minutes. Well, it's a full-grown adult. The kid's 13, so, that age, if an adult says, hey, I'm going to give this a try, you let him try it. You just assume adults can do these things. But luckily, the kid did go, man, it's a real long time.
Yeah.
Real long.
And one of the harder things about holding your breath is not passing out. Even if you're not underwater.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the first things that can happen to your body. Your brain just goes, I'm done.
But at least on land, you just start breathing again. You pass out, you start breathing.
Right.
You're underwater, that's an issue.
Still not sure of the current protocol for CPR. I know what I was taught. I know that is now an antiquated version of what I learned.
It's antiquated, but it still has to work. Because, look, the thing about Stranger Things, I don't think, I've seen all of them. I do not recall the scene that this kid watched, but, the show is based in the 80s, and they're pretty true to all of that. So I would think, on the TV show, and I'm just guessing here, that the CPR they did, not assuming that anyone is watching this for a life skill, was probably what you learned, what I learned, when we were in school.
But you never know. I mean, you can implement what you know, but like it was different for water rescue than it was for CPR. So with water, there were blows to the back. So
right.
That was,
you got to get the water out.
That was another part of that whole scenario where, you roll the person on the side. And I can't remember if it was 3 hard blows to the back or 5 or 2 or whatever the deal was. But that was also incorporated into a drowning victim if you were giving CPR. But again, I don't know if that's still... Like I went to get a physical the other day. For the last 10 years, I have not had a finger in the backside. Because that was not necessary.
Correct.
Because they figured out you didn't need to do that. I went last week. What's the first thing he did? He said, "No, we're back to it again." Right in the old...
but he did it first.
Right in the old rusty sheriff's badge, yeah.
Good.
I just think
that's
get it over
all
with.
we've asked.
Get it over with.
If you're going to do it, right? And every time I've gotten
you want to do it at the beginning or the end? I'm like, I want to do it right now.
Like, just get it done.
Because if not, I'm just going to be thinking about that the whole time.
That's absolutely it.
So go gentle.
So just get it done. We can move on. We'll both be more comfortable.
Right.
Well, they moved the ages for a while.
It was
50. It was always 50.
Then 40.
Then they dropped it to 40. And then when I turned 40 and went in for that physical, they were like, it's back up to 45. Like, you're fine.
I mean, either way, it's kind of like the CPR thing. I don't care if you know the antiquated version, the new version, or if you're not sure if you know it. If I need it, like, just give it the old college try, right? Just whatever you think you know, go ahead and do that. And I'd be fairly, I don't want to say comfortable doing CPR, because obviously the situation sucks, but I would rather have to do CPR than one of those deals with we need to do the tracheotomy. Because again, my knowledge, much like this kid's, comes from TV and movies. So I know I need to make a small incision in this area.
Like a pencil or a pen.
Yeah, like a hollowed out pen, and jam it in there.
To get him to breathe again, all those things. Like the Heimlich maneuver.
I watched a lot, like, you know me, even like a kid. Yeah. If I could watch a gangster movie or like a war movie, I would watch it. So yeah, I'm with you. If I was ever out in the backyard playing with my toy guns, somebody was getting a trach.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Oh yeah, that was just
I would just make up, whoever my partner in this army game is. It's like he's down.
Right.
We got to say
Ted, do the trach.
I've seen a lot of videos where it's like stranger springs into action to help child that is choking. I've seen it from dash cam footage of police cars. I've seen it from just cameras in restaurants and everything else. And it either goes one of two ways. The Heimlich is applied. After a while, it eventually works. Mm-hmm. I've also seen the guy who tries to do the Heimlich, does it time and time again, and nothing happens. Just picks the kid up by the feet and just starts shaking his ass, and it finally pops out. And then he's like, whatever it takes to get the damn
That's what
out.
I'm saying. Nobody cares. I'm not quite sure if I'm updated to my CPR. You're like, bro, put your mouth on their mouth and help that person out.
So even if you do have something and you're stuck in your throat or whatever the deal is, why can't I pinch the nose, blow down their mouth, and shoot it into their stomach? I mean, I don't know. I would try just
again. If I'm choking, do what you got to do.
I might just get it more lodged.
Could be. Then I look it out. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to shake you now by your feet.
Because, Dad, you've done Heimlich twice, correct?
Twice, right. One,
but you were never trained on it. You just went with basically same as the rest of it. Saw it on TV.
Seen people do it. Saw somebody do it in person once. Just did it.
And did it.
Yeah, I mean, like, on my mother, that was scary. It's my own mom, but at least she's an adult. But the last time, was a 11, 12-year-old kid.
Ooh.
And it's a girl, so she was tiny. So, I mean, that was there was that split second of like, don't crush her tiny little ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like if I'm in a situation, do not worry about my ribs.
You know what, though? I will say, it's one of those things, you always hear about it. And I don't know, when you realize the kid is not choking, and I guess it helped that I had seen it before.
Right.
There's just a certain, all right. Right, because, even, I always say I have trouble swallowing, pills.
Yeah.
But if I get one stuck in there, I could still breathe. I'm not
you're
choking.
Not suffocating, right?
Right, like that kid was. I was like, oh man, I'm like, she's choking. So I just ran over, did it probably 4 times, and it popped out. But yeah, I didn't even realize. Like my one buddy, he was like, I had no idea what was going on. I was so scared.
I'm trying to think, like, what are the other first aid things have you never actually had to do, but you have, quote unquote, learned it on TV, right? So there's CPR, there's a tracheotomy, there's a Heimlich. As far as applying a tourniquet.
Tourniquet is the only one I feel confident doing.
I learned that Boy Scouts because I can time. Right. But, all right, so, Mike, you did Eagle Scouts, right? So as far as all the stuff we're running through that, look, put it this way.
He did Boy Scouts.
If you're,
he just became
I did
an Eagle Scout.
I did Eagle Scouts.
God.
What are the first aid things that you learned along the way? Because like me and Ted are saying, thanks to TV, Heimlich can be pulled off. CPR, pulled off. Tourniquet, tracheotomy, I don't want to try, but I guess in a pinch.
It's all pretty basic because the whole thing about first aid is it's supposed to be your initial reaction to what's going on so that when the actual help can arrive, things are at least a little bit better. So we learned how to do like leg splints. We did learn to look for certain signs of what exactly was going on. And we actually, there was a handful of exercises that we did where we actually kind of manufactured these situations where, okay, somebody's not okay in the next room. Go in there and see what's going on.
You can figure out.
And then we went as far as like putting blue lipstick on their lips to show that, okay, they've gone cold or something like that. Like they're losing blood. They're in shock. They're and stuff like that.
All right.
I once played the dummy where I did bust my leg in half just by tripping on, regular floor. And then, so that's just kind of what it is. It's just learning how to get your initial reaction to be diagnosing what's going on and then doing the best that you can.
Direct pressure is one of those things.
Direct pressure.
Then if it goes beyond that, then
clean it out.
Back to the tourniquet days.
Here's two more people, TV, which again, if you find yourself in a pinch, chances are you've seen it on TV. Snake bite treatment. Although I know,
but sucking it out,
right? You're not supposed to suck it out.
Correct. That's not real.
Yeah, that's not. But I only read that like a year ago, maybe. So up until then, I would have sucked out the poison and damn near killed myself because I said, you realize you're sucking venom into your own body. And the other one,
yeah, I mean, like, look, if you watch a Western and they do it, they probably believed it.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And delivering a baby.
Now I was doing.
What's the first thing you need? You got to deliver a baby.
Towels.
I need towels. I don't know why I need
towels.
Here's
I need
the
a bucket of
problem.
hot
Look,
water and towels.
I'm going to catch this damn thing.
But
man.
here's the problem with that, right? I go, look, she's delivering a baby. I remember what I've seen on TV, okay? I need clean towels. Specifically,
Correct.
we need warm water. And then they come back and they have a bucket of warm water. We have the towels. And they say, now what? And I'm like, honest to God, I have no idea. I just know I need
I'm going to bite the umbilical cord.
I don't know what I need these for.
I don't have
what
a knife.
do I do with them now?
That's right. Just rip it off with my teeth.
But I mean,
it's a boy.
Do you wrap the towels around
Ooh, I
the
bit the wrong
kid
thing.
on the way out?
I think you need the towels because there's just so much stuff.
But are you telling me I need towels because it's gross? Or I mean,
No, but I mean, there's bodily. Look, I've never seen a baby be born, but I don't know. There's water breaking. I'm assuming there's blood.
I mean, I did it in the hospital.
I think there's fluid.
Yes, there's a lot of
fluid,
tons of fluid.
But they're not like actively cleaning as you go. You know what I mean?
That's what happens when you break your water.
Right, but I mean, like, they're just delivering the kid, and my wife's just sitting there with the legs open, and they finally had to suction the one kid out of there, but there was no, like, buckets of water. I don't recall them using water. I don't remember them really using towels. It was just kind of like, it's a typical medical operation, right? So now some woman's giving birth in the back of your Uber, and I got your towels and a bucket of water. Like, I have no idea what to do with
someone's kind of in there like this, trying to, expand everything. So, like, gloves.
Dilate?
Yeah, trying to get everything to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're If you're to open up curtains and look out and see how the crowd is before the show, then you close it. There's people doing that.
But again, what are you doing with the bucket and the towels? I got these for you.
Look, I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm getting in a 2-point stance.
TV needs to give us the full, okay, now I've got these, and now what? Other than me wiping off my hands because her gross stuff's on me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm just getting in a 2-point stance and hoping I can just catch this baby.
So wait, you're not helping her get it out.
That's basically what happens.
I mean, unless she's like, I can't push it out any farther, then we're going to have to go extreme measures and we're going to see what I don't know.
No, according to TV.
I mean, what I might do
according to TV, if she says I can't push anymore, it's this simple. Yes, you can. And then she screams and it happens.
See, I put down 2 pillows just in case. My hands weren't as steady as I thought they would be.
I just like
so if the baby shoots out real quick, like whoa, like at least there's 2 pillows on the floor.
I like the image of Ted playing tug of war with a woman.
Just pulling the baby.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to imagine, right? Trying to reach places to get a kid out. I'm like, oh my!
There's only one place to reach, bro. I mean, it's not places.
Look, the bucket
is a singular location.
Listen, honey, this is going to hurt. I got to get this kid out.
The bucket comes in handy depending on what side what comes out of.
Right.
That's not bad to have a little bucket there.
Well, I'd stuff the towels on your butt. That's for sure.
It's the same push.
Oh, yeah.
Just a bigger.
Do not poop on me. Well, they even say that. When they numb women up, they go, because I can't feel anything. They say, okay, use the same muscles you would use if you're pooping. The best way to describe, all I said to my wife was, you follow directions well.
Yes.
Yeah. The nurse even hit me. I'm like, I just wanted to let her know that you're tracking.
I mean, it's a Snickers.
Right. There's no baby, but you clearly listened to what she said because that just happened.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
At Casper, we love all things sleep, so we thought it would be fitting to make a sale that covers, well, everything. Save up to 25% on mattresses and up to 50% on everything else you need for better sleep at Casper.com or a store near you through October 24th. Exclusions apply. See Casper.com/promo.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
One of the things we're talking about just before the break are what medical rescue techniques do you think you could apply, just based on the fact that you've seen them in TV and movies forever? Childbirth came up there, right? We've all seen it 1,000 times. And we're like, all right, I got my warm water. I got my clean towels, because every movie and TV show says that. What do we do with them? Well, we realize none of us know, so I just looked it up. So warmth via moisture/water is also hydrating. And women in labor, basically, they're known to have reduced incidence of tearing. Okay, so they're losing hydration. So you apply the warm compress to the area, which is stretching during childbirth. I think we know what that area is. And I guess that helps them basically loosen up to have an easier delivery of the kid.
Okay.
I would have never known in 10,000 years, man.
You mean tearing, not tearing?
Instead of tearing, yes.
Yeah.
It is, in fact, tearing.
Yeah.
Basically, you apply this to the tissues of the perineum.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, there you go, man.
That's better than a episiotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Ron. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hola.
So back in, 2004, I am sitting in my apartment. It's like December 15th or something like that. And I hear something crying outside of my apartment window. So I go out there to investigate it, and it's this young girl, probably 15, 16, and she is currently in the process of giving birth.
You got to be kidding me.
Nope. She doesn't speak a lick of English, so I managed to, I helped, birth the baby and managed to get her and the child into my apartment while I wait for 911 to show, because I have.
So what exactly did you do? So she gave birth and you were there, right?
Yeah.
And what did you contribute? Did you watch? Were you holding her hand? Did you scream for the bucket and the warm towels?
No bucket or warm towels, because this was outside of an apartment. I kind of held her hand and tried to help. She's pushing. I'm trying to pull gently because I don't know what's happened. She's obviously in distress. I've got 911 on the phone saying this, can gently pull on the legs.
The baby came out legs first?
I believe so. It's
wow.
It was 2005. This is a long time.
Yeah, that's real bad, man.
That's not a good scenario.
So what time of day was this that this went down?
Oh, this was at night. It's probably 10 o'clock or something. Oh, no, hold on. It was a little bit after midnight.
Did you hold the baby up by the feet and slap its ass?
No.
Get up.
I did, manage to get in, her and the baby in the apartment. She did not want me to call anyone. She obviously was a secret pregnancy or something like that. But
yeah, I'm calling somebody, dude.
Yeah, the baby wasn't crying. They're telling me just keep tapping the baby on the feet, make sure it's responsive and everything.
Was the baby okay?
Yeah, I mean the baby started making sounds and stuff like that. They didn't say anything was particularly wrong with that. I haven't been able to follow because I have no idea who this lady is.
Did anyone else in the apartment building come out, or was it just you?
It was me and my wife at the time.
Okay. Did your wife take the lead on this?
Nope.
Oh, it was all you. All right.
Had your wife ever gone through childbirth?
No, she had not.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying nobody, any guy who jumps in hasn't. Yeah. I wondered if that would be something where you just know a little bit more, even if you've been through it.
For sure.
I know you're kind of knocked out. You might have had
Yeah, it was a really weird situation. Like I said, like just started with like, what is that noise?
How long did this entire process take? From the time that you made it outside, figured out this girl is in labor, to the point that you actually delivered a baby?
How long was that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I was doing like laundry. So it was like I went, changed laundry. And was like, no, what is that? So maybe like 5-10 minutes from like first hearing the sound to like identifying what the sound was coming from. Almost sounded like a cat crying or something.
Who showed up first, the EMTs or the fire department?
EMTs.
Okay. And I guess they took over the situation at that point.
Yeah. I had to help her birth the placenta, that whole thing. Because it made a mess.
Well, what do you mean you helped her with it? Like, that thing just kind of pops out. It is what it is. Like, what do you do with the placenta?
You put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in your freezer.
I mean, I'm hosing the thing out of the parking lot. I don't know.
You kind of freak out and like, okay. And we're going to need a car shampoo at this point.
Okay. Got to go get the car detail. That's placenta you get out of there. One last question for you. So you deliver the baby, and did you know the placenta was coming next, or was that kind of a surprise?
It was like I kind of vaguely knew, but it was kind of a surprise. I knew like that there was going to be something, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to be like.
Oh, there's something coming.
Look, it's amazing how much men don't know about a woman's body. Trust me.
Sure, why would they?
Yeah. You until you see that, you're like, oh, that's the whole thing, keeping the damn thing alive.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I remember seeing it, and it's funny because they ask, and I guess you must now, whatever the case, but kid pops out, placenta soon follows, and then, did you want to keep the placenta? I'm like, for what?
A lot of people do. No, for a lot of things.
I understand, but I'm like, no, I don't. You guys can have it or throw it out or whatever you're going to do, but no, I have. We did some
it tastes like halibut cheeks.
Some like stem cell thing or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want the placenta. I know some people get real attached to that.
Yeah, I saw, had to be Frontline or like, maybe 60 Minutes, one of those investigative shows, and it was about people that keep them and eat them.
Yes, because apparently there's all these nutrients, which makes sense. I mean, it's what's been keeping the kid alive. It's where all the
but typically you don't eat things from the human body, other than like boogers.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid.
I will say
some people do it, man.
My buddy, him and his wife, their first child, they did I think it was a water birth at home, right, with a doula, and then the second child just. Like, it just happened way too quick. Nobody was there. And he had to deliver it. Something happened.
He had to deliver it himself.
Right. Mm-hmm. So he had watched it happen with the doula there, but he was like, oh, it was terrifying. And, like, he had to, like, reach in and grab it out. I mean, it was a major deal.
But it's like anything, right? Again, we could watch a TV show where the passenger successfully lands at 747 miles, right? Because we've all watched, we know to pull on the yoke, do this thing. If it's real life, I mean, it's entirely different.
Okay, here's another thing that's kind of weird. With my second child, she seemed to be in a bit more of a hurry than the first. Mm-hmm. So the first was get to the hospital, hang around, wait. You're just kind of trying to find out when the dilation hits the right point, blah, 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 blah. That was not the case with my younger daughter. She was ready to go. So I remember my wife was screaming at me that she absolutely needed to have a lemonade. So here's the weird dynamic.
A lemonade?
It's Monday night, okay? It's a Monday afternoon. It's about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. She's thirsty. She wants a lemonade because I was going to get her like a soda. Like for some reason, carbonation did not work with her taste buds, or just she could not drink it, I guess.
Yeah.
She wanted a lemonade. Problem is, okay, I can stop at a 7-Eleven AM PM, which I did. But you still have to remember, her water is already broke. Mm-hmm. She is on the way. I have to get her to the hospital. So I run in, real quick to the convenience store. I grab a lemonade. I go, of course, I've got the person who's pulling individual pieces of change, crumpled up dollars.
Oh, God.
There's no way it's going to go quick.
It's not going to, no, exactly. Talking to the cashier, I just threw the $5 on the counter. I was like, I got to go. My wife's in labor. I'm out. Give her the lemonade. She's kind of like arcing her back into the seat.
Yeah.
The strangest part about this thing is that I'm a somewhat aggressive driver, and typically in that area there was a lot of aggressive drivers.
So the entire East Coast.
I'm not alone, But there's a very fine line between the safety of your wife and your newborn that's about to come into this world, your driving skills. There's a fine line between being speed racer and doing the right thing, which is maybe not getting into a crash because you are flying down Ritchie Highway, which was like, the equivalent of flying down Aurora with stoplights and everything else. And of course, every single stoplight on a rural old highway, every red light, I hit them all. I hit every frickin' one of them. And by the time we got to the Pat Sajak Center, yes, the Pat Sajak Center.
That just cracks me up.
I mean, it literally was. We get in there, it's like 8:45, and she is just, she is not, she's in a lot of pain. Things are coming down. She's not very nice. She's agitated. She's angry. It hurts, all the things. Then they gave her an epidural. Now,
the world changes.
I don't know I don't know the magic. Like, if you ever said, what drug do you want to try? I may be like, epidural.
Whatever's in it, man.
Because I saw what happened to her. And she went from just being like, and about 8:50, she looks at me and they said, well, it's going to be a few minutes, but maybe not much more. She's like, and there's a TV up in the corner of the delivery room. And she goes, Monday Night Football's on. Do you want to watch it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely I do.
Yeah.
So I put on Monday Night Football. I'm like, is this for real? Like, this person who was just screaming at me for the entire last 15 minutes is asking if I want to watch Monday Night Football? So I'm like, hell yeah. So I put on the Monday Night Football game. She ended up watching it. It kind of calmed her down a little bit more. And then the baby came shortly after. But, I never drove like a banshee, but as careful as I possibly could.
Sure.
Which was the weird in between,
What brand of lemonade?
It was the Minute Maid.
All right, nice.
That's a solid one.
That was popular at the time.
Did she put it down?
I'm pretty sure this was before the Snap lemonade. Oh yeah. It was a can of lemonade, man.
It seems like one of those things. If you could have bought it, she'd be like, "Why the hell did you buy me lemonade?"
I don't want Minute Maid.
Why was it lemonade?
I will say this: an epidural. I think the best way, if you've never seen the effects of an epidural, have you seen The Exorcist? There's a point where Linda Blair's character has a demon inside her. And that is pre-epidural, all right?
Yeah.
Because they're saying horrible things. Their voice is different. And then that epidural, man, that thing takes place, and it's like Linda Blair's character at the end of the movie, where she's now just this happy little girl again.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's nothing in between. It's not gradual. It just goes from, I will stab you in the eye.
You want to watch football? If my memory serves on this one, it was like a very long metal cord.
It's like a wire.
Like a wire,
that they stick
right?
in, yeah.
And they drill a hole in the back of the woman, right in the middle of the spine.
I've never seen one. I've heard it's a massive needle.
And then they snake it through like you're unclogging a drain in your home with one of those giant snakes.
And the woman can't move. Keep in mind, the drug is not taking effect yet.
I can't believe how much crap they put in your
body. You're
back.
telling this woman, look, I'm going to drill this little hole in her back, and then I'm taking this long-ass wire. And the worst thing you can do is show her what you're putting in her back. Because, I don't care who you are, you don't want that
I can't believe that all that wire went into her back.
But the doctor says, keep in mind, you're already in pain, you're in distress, you've now rolled her onto her side with this big-ass thing in her belly, which makes her less comfortable. I'm going to drill a hole in your back. I'm sorry I showed you this ridiculous wire I'm going to stick in there, which makes anybody nervous. But I remember the last guy we had was real specific. He says, look, it's going to hurt, but you can't move, because if you move, something could go wrong. It could kill you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Obviously it didn't. By the way, somebody here says that the epidural basically is fentanyl.
Oh.
Which would make sense.
Look, those drugs when they work.
Well, she didn't do the bend over lean thing like she was almost going to fall.
Well, look, there's that famous story of me falling off the balcony, right? Like, I'm messed up. Thurl takes me in the emergency room. They take me right in, this and that. Now, when they're putting needles in the back of your head because an open wound, that is horrible, right? But they numb it up. Then I got to go take the CAT scan or whatever. That was tremendous pain because of that massive hematoma. I couldn't bend. I had to have a guy push me down.
Right.
But I think by the time Thrill saw me, if I remember correctly, at this point I'm doped up.
You were fine.
I think I was watching Washington versus Dallas, and I'm like, oh man, look at the game. Now the next day I felt horrible again.
Right.
But for the rest of that afternoon, I was good to go.
I just remember thinking, what is in this magical drug?
Yeah, I got fentanyl. I didn't know. Here's from the text line. Somebody says, we encapsulated my wife's placenta, had it made into pills. It's great for postpartum depression. Which, hey,
well, you're putting it back in.
Let more people know that, right?
Yeah,
that's a serious deal. And then somebody says, I did CPR on my fiance until EMS showed up, saved her life. She married my best friend. They're now divorced. He cheated on her with his first wife.
Wait a minute, say that again.
I'm going to read. I did CPR on my fiance till EMS showed up. That saved her life. The woman, his fiance, then married his best friend. Well, his best friend and his ex-fiance are now divorced because he cheated on his former fiance with his best friend's now first wife.
That's a lot to unpack.
That is.
Well, it seems like the first guy...
My best friend. They're now divorced. He cheated on her with his first wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fiance was second wife.
Well, it sounds like this guy that did the right thing, gave her CPR, she survived. Seems like he made it out the best unscathed after all that.
Other than the bitterness. Yeah.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the men's room.
How you doing?
Hola.
So, I actually delivered my daughter.
You delivered your own daughter?
Yes.
And where were you?
We had a midwife, and we're on Lake Taps. So she did all like the moisturizing, those towel things that you're asking about. There was oils and lotions, and it was all natural, so there was no drugs or anything. But then I actually physically pulled my daughter out when it was time. So
did you know that was going to be the case, or did the midwife spring that on you?
So she asked me, basically, because she was down there. She's like, "Are you going to want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? Might as well." So, yeah, it was crazy.
How hard is it to, because, I'm watching the doctor do the thing. I know the wife's pushing and all that. But at the time that you grip up on your child and you're trying to remove them.
No, it's more you have to be gentle because head first is the way that naturally they come out, and you have to grab their shoulders and their spine and whatnot. So you actually have to be really coordinated at the same time. You're just really, in the moment.
Okay. Did your kid come out with a cone head?
Slightly, but man, she was hairy as hell.
Right. There's a couple weird things that you can you don't expect when you see your child for the first time. You're like, ooh,
like most.
Like you're happy, but then you're like, what in the F is that?
You are elated beyond anything that I don't think it rivals anything. But at the same time, you're also looking at this disgusting slime-covered creature. And you do have some questions. My daughter, particularly, used to have to use a suction cup on her head to get her ass out of there. Mm-hmm. So she had a pretty severe cone head. And I'm very excited. It's my first kid. It's a very profound moment. But at the same time, the doctor keeps seeing my eyes glance over at this pointy-headed little thing, and he's like, "It will go away." I'm like, "Are you sure, man?" He goes, "Dude." And listen, I've heard about it. I know it does, but when it's yours, you're like, "Oh my God, my daughter's going to have a cone head. Look at this thing."
Yeah.
But it did. Look like an upside down teardrop.
My first daughter, she had to be life flighted out of the hospital, and she had to go to Children's National in Washington, D.C. So at the time, the kid is underneath the French fry lamp.
Yeah.
And they realize that something's wrong because she is not taking the nipple.
Okay.
And then they understand.
Let me show you how it's done, kid.
And she started to, or tried to, but she could not get anything suctioned. And they looked, and this one nurse who she was like 70 years old.
Right.
She had just come into work that weekend, or whatever the deal was. And she's like, "I think I know what this is. I've seen this before." So they do a quick thing, take the kid away for a while. It's like, yes, your daughter's born without an esophagus.
That's a problem.
So the next thing I know, they're like, "Look, we're going to life flight your kid out to Children's National in Washington, D.C., which is about 35 minutes away, maybe, on 50. So it's pretty far away from Annapolis." I'm like, all right. So I kissed the wife. I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. They're going to, and she's kind of out of it, like, no. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to go. So I get in my car, and I am flying in the Geoprism. This thing is cooking 95 miles an hour down 50. I'm like, if they pull me over, I'm just going to tell them, like, "Yeah, sorry, you give me the lead," right? Here was the difference. I did not know where that hospital was exactly. This is before you could, your phone had maps on it and stuff. I'm just trying to figure it out by reading street signs, which is kind of hard in Washington, D.C., but they did have them. And that's how I ended up getting there. I basically ended up taking a right on, Massachusetts, or I can't remember the name of the street. The doctors kind of told me real fast, but I was like, all right, and I found it. Funny thing is, they were unloading somebody else. So the helicopter that my daughter was in was hovering above the hospital. By the time I got into the NICU unit of the hospital, my kid was just being wheeled in.
You beat the helicopter.
I beat the helicopter.
There must have been traffic.
And you know how much that helicopter ride was not cheap. I could have just thrown her into prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Feeling overwhelmed and unsure what to do next? Look no further. The personal injury attorneys at Phillips Law Firm are here to help. Phillips Law Firm understands that accidents can turn your life upside down. That's why they're dedicated to fighting for the compensation you deserve and to making the process as stress-free as possible. Don't wait any longer. Call now, 1-800-JUSTICE, or visit justiceforyou.com.
It's after bedtime, the kids are asleep, and the moms are out to play.
We're Dina and Kristen, the duo behind the Instagram account Big Little Feelings. I'm Dina. I'm a child therapist and mom of two who nerds out on all things neurobiology and psychology. And Kristen is a parent coach who wrangles 3 kids on a daily basis, here to give it to us like it is.
We weren't meant to do this parenting thing alone. Consider After Bedtime your village.
Follow After Bedtime with Big Little Feelings on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith from the Men's Room. And did you know I have a podcast? Well, I do. The Podcast. New episodes uploaded every Wednesday on the Odyssey app.
99.9 KISW. We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Hiker in remote Alaska used his wits to summon help in rough weather. NPR reports the unidentified man showed up on the live stream of a wildlife camera on Dumpling Mountain in Katmai National Park. He approached the camera twice, once to mouth the words, "Help me," and again to give a thumbs down signal. While people were watching the cam, probably hoping to catch a glimpse of the park's brown bears or a Kodiak bear, they picked up on his pleas. So there's someone distressed on the camera. One viewer posted in the stream's comments section. A moderator saw it and alerted a park ranger. The guy, he was watching the camera in New Jersey.
Really?
Yes. Okay. Others also took action. I called the local PD and tried my best not to sound like a crazy person, another person called in from Oklahoma. One user wrote that it all worked. The park then sent a search and rescue team to find the hiker. He was caught in a windy and rainy condition with poor visibility, and it was getting colder. According to the national park. Park rangers found the hiker a few hours later, unharmed. They brought him back down to safety. Had the man been unable to get back on his own before nightfall, a park official suggested he might not have survived the night, based on how cold and how rainy it was with hypothermia. The cam is operated by explore.org, and a spokesperson says this is a first for the organization.
That's good to keep in mind. I mean, I would not know where to look for a wildlife camera, but yeah, if you're stranded and see one, that's your best bet.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Joel. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
I got a really, really funny story. I actually saved this girl twice with one try. The name of the story is Butt-Ass Naked CPR. But anyway, this one also took place up in Lake Tapps. My softball team got invited up there to a party, and there was a band and everything, and evening started getting late, and the water was still warm and everything, and I was trying to get these 2 hookers to go skinny dipping with me. Well, they said, "You go first." I jumped in the water, of course, ripped off my shorts and threw them up on the dock. Sitting out there in the water, and they're laughing at me, saying, "You're an idiot. I'm not going skinny dipping with you." So somebody went behind the 2 hookers and pushed them in the water, both of them. Well, one girl got up, swam to the dock. The other girl didn't swim to the dock. She floated to the water face down. Scared the crap out of me, so I swam over there, grabbed her. She still wasn't breathing, and I grabbed her and pulled her over, swam over to the dock, and a couple people came over and grabbed her, pulled her up on the dock, and laid her on her back. Well, she still wasn't breathing. No one was doing anything. Here, mind you, I'm naked, sitting in the water, freaking out. And
Once again, bedroom colors, here are the 7 words you can't say on the radio. Sucker, mother, and please. Please keep those words in mind when calling. Now, back to the program.
I can't believe the guy who pushed 2 hookers into a lake cussed. Continue your story.
Wait a minute. Were they actually hookers, or you just called them hookers?
They're half hookers, okay? Anyway, they were...
That really didn't answer the question.
Yeah, no, they weren't hookers. One was in med school, and the other is a bus driver.
Okay.
So, anyway...
well, that really changes the story a lot. Jesus, man. Yeah, my bus driver's a hooker. My doctor's a hooker. I'm going to go get some French fries from the hooker over at McDonald's. Everyone's a hooker.
Anyway, it was the nurse girl the one that wasn't breathing. So no one was doing anything, and I said, "Man, I'm going to have to get up here and do this." I'm ex-military, so I kind of knew what to do, even though everybody was kind of wasted. Jumped up on the dock immediately, looking around for my shorts, and I couldn't find them anywhere, I'm going to have to do this. So I started doing the CPR, and it was a little difficult because the girl had huge boobs. So worked around that, breathed in her mouth a couple times, and did the chest compressions, and in mind, I'm still naked, and there's like 150 people over there wondering what's going on, coming over to the dock. I keep going. I tell my son to go call 911. We really didn't know where we were at, so I told him to go grab some mail and get an address. Anyway, the girl ended up coughing up water, revived her and everything, but she was hyperventilating and breathing really quick and everything. And I'm standing up there, and this old lady comes over and says,
He was never going to make it.
Callers, here are the 6 words you can't say on the radio. Sucker, mother, and please keep those words in mind when calling. Now, back to the program.
You're telling me the guy who pushed 2 hookers into Lake Taps dropped the S-bomb twice.
But they're only half hookers. Actually, one's a nurse, one's a bus driver.
Hookers.
The hell?
Interesting way of identifying the other sex.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it before.
I figured that he actually meant hookers.
I was going to ask him, what is the hooker population of Lake Taps? Because apparently, if you can get 2.
Well, my thought was, if you paid them to go skinny dipping, what's the proper business? Do you skinny dip because that's what he paid for? But then we find out they're not hookers; they're a bus driver and whatever.
Right, I've heard people use that term before, like at least 2 hookers. But that's I was like, right, like it wasn't that enough. It's like I gotta know. And I don't know if you ever been down to Lake Taps. There's some nice homes on that lake. I can't imagine the population's very high.
I haven't been there.
Oh, it's awesome.
Which
hookers
everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Hookers as far as the eye can see.
Down, what is it, east of Tacoma, Mike? Lake Taps? Or kind of north?
Lake Taps is around Bonnie Lake.
Sumner.
Yeah.
All right.
Just north of Bonnie Lake and Sumner.
All right.
Ooh, they have a Taps Island golf course. Never been there.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll see you soon.
Right,
no,
exactly.
Lake Taps is dope, dude.
Yeah, I haven't been.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. We head to New York. The New York Police Department is looking for a suspect who shoved a 74-year-old man onto the subway tracks early Tuesday morning.
Come on.
In what is believed to have been a completely unprovoked and random attack. Metropolitan Transit authorities say a contractor witnessed the attack and pulled Trevor Crawford back onto the platform at the Hunter College station. Police say the suspect, who appeared to be homeless, was seen muttering to himself, accusing Crawford of staring at him before he pushed him onto the tracks around 12:15 a.m., so just a little after midnight. Crawford had just finished work as an attendant at a nearby parking garage. He suffered injuries including 5 broken ribs from the fall and a spine fracture. He is just the perfect guy. This is horrible. For a man his age, a manager at the parking garage, mentioned working all day long, trying to go home to his family, minding his own business, and he got pushed onto the tracks. That is unacceptable. New York Police Department released a photo of the suspect, who fled the station after the attack, but was captured in a surveillance video. He's described about being 5'9" and approximately 210 pounds, maybe in his mid-30s. Fortunately, incidents like this are rare, but when they do occur, it is our top priority to apprehend and arrest those individuals that did it. 10 people have been pushed onto subway tracks so far this year. That is down from 19 at the same point last year.
So progress?
According to police.
Yeah?
Yeah, but they reached down there and they grabbed him out of there, so pulled him off the
think so, but obviously there's a risk of getting hit by a train, which everyone understands. Then there's the third rail.
Third rail.
So if I'm up there and I see this guy down there, is the third rail, is that the third rail from the platform?
I know on the DC Metro, it looks completely different.
They do make it look different. Okay.
Right, because it's where all the electricity's flowing and everything. So it's bigger, it's wider. Like you could tell that's the third rail.
Right. I've heard. So when I was younger, I'd heard of people that made contact with the third rail, and the end of the story was the same for all of them. So that's the only thing I thought when this guy got pushed in there. It's like, right, my instinct is to pull this guy off the tracks, get him to the platform, but I would at least say, anyone can identify the third rail specifically. Mm-hmm. I want to touch that bad boy, man.
Well, because when I was a kid, right, like there was train tracks in College Park, but the Metro hadn't made it out there yet. So I mean, when they put that Metro in, they came to our school 3 times and had people, I don't know if you call them officers, whoever, people high up in the Metro to sit there and just explain to us, like, look, you shouldn't be on tracks, period.
Right, period.
You probably have been on some, but like basically they were just, hey, you touch that third rail, here's what it looks like, you're going to die.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Like, period. That is the only conclusion to touching
about
the
10
third
years
rail.
ago, I did it was either the Seattle Rock and Roll Half Marathon or the Seattle Half Marathon.
All right.
Either way, you went underneath the tunnel on 90. So if you were coming up from Seward Park, you went underneath the tunnel, then you ended up down here by the stadiums or over by Seattle Center. All right. Either way, there's a marathon route, there's a half marathon route. So I get into a groove where the guy in front of me, he's about at the pace that I need to be at.
Okay, right. You use him as your pace car. So
he's my pace car driver. So I'm kind of staying about 20 feet behind him, trying to keep up. He starts to slow down inside the tunnel. He looks like he just stumbled. He put his hands out and he fell.
All
right. So I just stopped to ask him if he was okay. His eyes started fluttering in the back of his head. He goes into a full-blown seizure right on the ground in front of me. And I'm like, oh, God. So one thing I know about seizure, get them on their side. Also, you do not try to stop the seizure you don't try to push down or to stop the arms from shaking or do anything.
You just got to let them do.
You got to let them do what they're going to do. But it's helpful to get them on the side for breathing purposes and that kind of thing. So I jump up and I scream, "We need a doctor. Somebody get a doctor."
Marathon.
I'm in a tunnel.
Did everyone stop? I can help.
No. I'm in the half marathon line and no one is stopping. And the guy's on the ground still and no one's gone over to do anything. Because we're about, maybe 3 miles from the finish line. Whatever. Right. People are either have their headphones on, they're on their own. It's dark in the tunnel.
Sure.
They're in their own place, whatever.
They're not doctors.
It's not working. I jump into the marathon line and I put my hands out and I said, "We need a doctor now. Now." The first guy to run up. Of course he's a doctor.
Of course he is.
Because he's running
he does
a marathon.
full marathons.
And he has this exasperated look on his face like, "Are you freaking kidding me, man?" Like,
right.
Like, I've been training for this, but he's a doctor. And he's like, so he goes over and he kneels down and he starts doing what he's doing, like taking, seeing for a pulse and all these different things.
Sure.
And about that time, the guy kind of snapped out of it and he sat up. But he'd used the bathroom. He'd done all the
things. You lose all your faculties, right?
Yeah. And at that point in time, then the marathon, like a golf cart came. And so that had like some of the employees who were working, and I think they all got on the golf cart and took him to an ambulance, that kind of thing. But that was my pacer. So after that, I was probably there for 5 minutes just waiting.
He ruined your time, dude.
He ruined my time, man.
Selfish.
It didn't matter. It was a half marathon. I didn't care. My heart now is racing.
Of course.
Like before, I was just like a nice, steady, like, dump. I was just,
dump.
I was chill. Like I was in the zone. I was pacing fine. Next thing I know, I start back up again. I'm like, I'm like, I gotta breathe my way out of this, man, because I'm freaked the hell out.
One of my auctions when I was just getting started in my career, actually being up on stage as an auctioneer, I was doing one for a local sorority here in town, and it was they work closely with, I believe, the American Heart Association or something in that realm, right? And so I'm up there and I'm getting started, and I got a little spiel that I go through, and then we're playing this game to get things started, just to kind of build energy up and get everybody moving. I've got the crowd getting started. It's the heads and tails raffle. Basically, you buy in for a certain amount of money, and then it's a pair down process. Basically, you're playing a game of heads and tails with a coin, and then whoever wins gets half the pot.
Okay.
So it's supposed to build some drama. It's supposed to build some excitement. Everybody's ready to go. We're all hyped up. I am two elimination rounds into this game, and then all of a sudden I hear, "We need a doctor!" And I look over, and right in front of the stage, one of the girls from the sorority has just launched into a seizure. Oh. And she's gone to, like, the lights in there, the sounds, like, she she's gone down, and we had to stop the entire auction. I'm getting started. We have ramped up all this energy. We have gotten this thing going, and then it dropped out. Right off.
And now, do you?
So at that point,
because you're kind of running it.
Exactly. So I'm up on stage, and I've never been in this situation before. I've never had anybody.
Yeah, we get a doctor. We have a doctor now. Right now, give me a cardiologist. We have a podiatrist.
Right. Luckily, we haven't actually started anything now, and we are at the college that's got all kinds of doctors everywhere. Right.
That's a good point.
So people descend on her, and they called paramedics here rather quickly, but I'm kind of fumbling over myself thinking, okay, do you keep going? What do I do? And then the main gal that's helping her out looks to me and is like, just keep going on, just go on, don't worry about us. And as I'm starting to go, I'm like, this feels wrong. And then finally the chair over on the side's like, we're going to take a little bit of about 10-15 minute break. If anybody
have to.
Yeah, so.
Because you come off as being some insensitive a-hole.
Exactly. And it's right in the middle of the doggone room, too. And then, so I'm over there sweating it a little bit because we just had all of our, I hate to be insensitive, but it's like we did just kind of just take all the energy out of the room here. Then we ended up having like the best night we've had.
You kind of sucked in.
Right, come on, man.
All right, what exactly is a seizure? We know what it is, but I mean, what is happening in your body? Is your brain not receiving electric impulses?
I think it's constantly sending. This is my belief.
When my daughter had one, it was a little weird. She threw up everything.
Right.
Then she expunged everything, so to
Correct.
speak. And then it just took a little while to get her to breathe normal again. And by that point in time, I had EMT in her room. I mean, they were there, like lightning fast. Either that or just time kind of froze for a little bit. But they took care of her after that.
If you feel like they got there fast, they got there fast. When you're in that kind of situation, everything takes longer. But I mean, what exactly?
According to the Mayo Clinic, a seizure is a sudden, uncontrolled burst of electrical activity in the brain. It can cause changes in behavior, movements, feelings, and levels of consciousness. Having 2 or more seizures at least 24 hours apart.
I blame Johnny Rockets for that night. No, I don't.
What happens if you have 2 or 4 within 24 hours?
Don't have a known cause is considered to be epilepsy.
Yeah, that's what my daughter has.
Huh. Mm-hmm. So to qualify for epilepsy, it's the number of seizures you have in a 24-hour period. Did not know that.
My other daughter, she was in for a routine but overnight medical procedure at the University of Maryland Medical Center. She might have been there for 2 nights. Either way, I'm spending the night with her, so I'm sleeping in the chair. I go outside to smoke a cigarette, and this car flies in to the emergency room exit or entrance underneath the canopy.
Yeah.
Now, all I see is the driver and the passenger jump out of the car. They run around to the side passenger door in the back, open up the door. So I figured they're rushing somebody in there, and then the two guys who were in the front seat, they run back into the car and they shut the door. And I can't see what's going on because I'm seeing the driver's side, I'm seeing the emergency room. They jump back in the car and peel the hell out of there.
Their friend was shot.
And then I look down and there's a guy that's laying on his side, but he has triggered the emergency doors to open.
Okay.
So the emergency doors have opened. Now the hospital staff is rushing to this guy's aid. Then they get him on a gurney and they wheel his ass in. And I'm just like, this all took place within, honest to God, like 45 seconds.
Or OD.
There was no, I was going to say, there was no blood.
Okay.
I walked
OD,
into that
sure.
entrance to go back in.
All right.
So there's no blood there. But it was just, it was so fast. Like they just drove, dumped him, jumped back in the car, man, and they were gone. Because
we got to leave before then we get our license plate number or the cops show up. That's exactly what that is.
You can't ask, they're not going to tell you one way or another, but I was just like, damn, that was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Tick tock, tick tock. Before you know it, the end of the year will be here. So remember to use your vision benefits before they expire. Schedule eye exams today for the whole family by visiting pearlvision.com. Pearl Vision will cover the cost of your insurance copay or eye exam, plus they accept all major vision plans, including iMed. Valid prescription required. Valid at participating locations. Restrictions apply. Taxes extra. See store for details. Ends 12/31/23. Exams available at the independent doctors of optometry at or next to Pearl Vision. Some doctors employed by Pearl Vision.
9 KISW. The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Who sucks less? Coming up right after emails on our question, who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
Hola.
So one day I come into work, and it's pretty early. One of the first people there, and come out of the bathroom. There's a gal kind of leaned over in her chair, and a bunch of people standing around her. And I asked them, like, well, what's going on? They're like, well, she says she's tired. And I said, that's not common. We need to start asking questions and that sort of thing, right?
All right.
And so we started poking her, like, what's your name? What day is it? What you have for breakfast? Where are you at? All those sort of things, trying to, get to the root cause here. And it turns out she was having a stroke.
Yeah.
And so it's like, the first responder type mentality, like, you call 911, you go to the front door, look for the EMTs to show up, you guys stay with her, all that sort of stuff. Moved pretty fast. And we have designated, like, safety people, but they weren't in yet. So a lot of people weren't sure what to do.
What do you do if someone's having a stroke?
So you got to get help, right? Because if they're having a stroke, they're having a brain coagulant, and they're not getting blood flow. And if they don't get blood flow fast enough, they will die or be brain dead at some point. So
now, was this a coworker of yours?
This is a coworker of mine, yeah.
Okay.
And I had seen her earlier in the morning on the sounder train, and so I knew she was fine in the morning when I first saw her, but she's a little bit slower getting up the hill, and so like this was very much not like her. And like stroke is like the face slumps, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't really doing that, but it started to kind of look that way, and then she trying to come in and out of it in terms of like being able to answer questions and whatnot. So it was pretty scary.
But is there anything that you can do until help arrives? Because like you said, if there's a seizure, you can roll them on the side, that kind of thing. If they're having a stroke, is it just try to keep them occupied with conversation, keep their brain working a little bit?
As far as I know, yeah. We tried to keep her stable in her chair, getting up so she wouldn't fall on herself if she lost consciousness or whatever the case was. So we kept her in her chair, we kept her engaged, and then EMTs came in. They wrote my phone number down on her arm, and they're like, we're going to call you. And I was like, okay. Then, like, half hour later, doctor calls. He's like, is this Andrew? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you did the right thing. You got help and basically saved her life.
Wow.
And so, like, the rest of that day was just like, this was like 6:30 in the morning. The rest of the day was just like shock, because you get that fight or flight type mentality when it happens.
Yeah.
And then once it's done, all the emotions kick in. I can't do anything. I'm out. I'm done.
That's like your hands start shaking, all that sort of thing.
Strokes are scary.
And then you start feeling all those things. Like, this is a person that I know that could have died, and we saved them. But, like, you don't know what could have gone wrong.
Right. Sure. No,
I told you, my buddy had one just last year. And same thing. He was just sitting there, and, like, let's say they, like, put the kids to bed or something. And they're, like, watching a show, and he's like, his wife's like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't know. Like, something's wrong.
Right.
And he's like, I can't feel the left side of, like, my face or whatever. And then finally he was just like, you need to, like, call 911 right now.
Yeah.
Like, something is terribly wrong. And, yeah, he had a stroke.
Damn.
He's fine now.
Right. And, they happen, but it's just, like I said, almost any other medical emergency, until help arrives, there's something you can do. Put pressure on the wound, all that kind of stuff. With a stroke, honest to God. I think
you just need to identify it and get help, like he said.
Yeah, get help, but I don't know what you do until help arrives.
Because the radio commercials ran for probably 5 or 6 years. Like, I'm having a stroke.
That's what I'm thinking. That promos ran all the time, but I can't remember what it was.
Because it was about the idea that look for the signs of a stroke. Because someone having a stroke, you can tell someone you're having a heart attack. You can tell someone you're bitten by a snake. If you're choking, it's obvious. But when you're having a stroke, you're just completely unresponsive. So people are trying to talk to you, and you're not seizing.
Here's one. Speaking of snakes, to jump into action, we go down to Australia. Australia man was trying to help his friend who was being attacked by a snake. The two men were in the Coomera State School in Queensland for an event celebrating the school's 100th anniversary when the snake coiled around one of the men's legs.
Does it say what kind of snake it was? If it's Australia, I
it's a venomous eastern brown snake.
Yeah, okay.
The second man attempted to remove it and ended up getting bit on the arm in the process. There was a rapid call for an ambulance, and bystanders performed CPR immediately as the man collapsed. An official says the second man, age 69, he was already in cardiac arrest by the time the paramedics arrived. Jesus. Despite heroic measures by both the bystanders and the ambulance service, he was unfortunately unable to be revived, and he passed away. Those heroic measures lasted more than 30 minutes. CPR, defibrillator. The first man, also in his 60s, he was taken to the hospital and then discharged. But they believe it was an eastern brown snake. But either way, jumped in to help his buddy when a snake wrapped around his leg. He got bit. He passed on.
Jeez,
his buddy, who he saved, he ended up making it okay.
And you bring up the defibrillator, another thing you see on TV all the time, right? They happen to stumble upon them, and they're rubbing the things together. I know you say clear. I assume, but there's always two paddles, right?
Yep.
So I
Correct.
assume one that goes over your heart.
The idea is to have the electric charge pass through the heart to either stop it or get it back going.
So where do you put the second one? So I know the first one you probably put over the heart. Does it matter where you put the second paddle?
So what the ones that they have now, the kind of the artificial ones, not the artificial ones, but the ones that'll kind of walk you home, has one that is up here on this shoulder, and then the other one's down here on the hip.
So you're trying to shoot it corner to corner.
Exactly. You need to cross that bad boy.
Oh, I would do the complete opposite.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I just
had
would
them
have
on the
thought, like,
chest.
put them on each side of their chest and just hit.
Which
That's the way I see it in TV.
Right, and it might actually put a charge across there, but I'm starting to see on TV more and more they are starting to put one on the side and one up on the top.
Somebody probably said, you know what, people watch these shows, and should they find themselves in this situation, man, they're going to do what they see us doing. Let's
Mike,
try to get it accurate.
Do you know when?
What do you mean? Like
when does somebody need a defect? Like when do you know
when their heart is not
either out of rhythm or not pumping, right?
But again,
or it's fluttering,
I'm
or
pretty
it's
sure
pumping too much.
I'm pretty sure we have one here.
Oh yeah,
and I think there's a handful of staff that are trained to use it.
Where is it?
I don't know where it is, and I don't know who knows how to use it.
I got you.
You know how to use it?
Oh, sure.
I know where it is.
I'm
Mike
not
knows how to use it.
Mike, you get the defibrillator.
I'll get it.
Mike, you're on it.
I'm not certified, but I could walk through that.
Brother, again, if my heart stopped, well, I'm not certified. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, what if it's instructions like a Kia furniture?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
It actually is. They actually have diagrams with little people on there, like, put this over here.
Are they smiling?
The
like
floofling thingy.
And they tell you to be clear because if
you get the electric charge.
Ta-da. If you use it and you don't need it, you will then need it.
Really?
Yes.
Basically, to knock your heart out of rhythm?
Oh, yeah.
So if you use a defibrillator and you don't need it, you're going to need it.
It's supposed to reset your heart is what it's supposed to do.
That's a fair statement.
And if everything's all fine and dandy and then you hit reset, well, it's going to trip things up.
By the way, as far as a stroke goes, some people they said, for a stroke, think fast. I'm thinking, well, I would be thinking fast. Face, arm, speech, time.
Time to call
and then they
911.
say defibrillators, the most important is that the pads don't touch.
Oh, all right.
Okay. That's good to know. I don't want to be in the situation, but, as you go through, if it happens, they're like, we have a defibrillator. Cool. Who knows how to use it?
Well, I mean, again, you said it earlier. I think that's one of those things.
Go on TV.
Right. If you knew it was time to use it, to me, it seems like you would just break into it and be like, screw it, I don't know what else to do.
Clear.
His heart is stopped.
But then you also have to make sure that they definitely need a defibrillator. Right? I'm going to fire this bad boy and be like, Jesus, man, what are you doing?
Yes, I think that's one of those things we see on TV a lot more than they actually need.
Right. Yeah. I mean, almost every TV show. Good.
Yeah, hit him.
Clear. Then the back should arch, right? Then you got to do it again. Boom. And if it's like TV, the
person bounces.
No, the whole thing is. Everyone says, man, you got to stop. You're not going to bring it back. And then through teary eyes, I scream, one more time. And I say some weird curse word, right? And I plead with them, and I hit them. And you know what? Miraculously, they come back. So my understanding from TV with the defibrillator is you must do it 3 times, but on the 3rd time, you appeal to God and you scream at them. And that's the real key, see?
Yeah.
It was me yelling at you.
Again, you also have to turn the electricity all the way up.
All the way. That's
usually
how do you know where to...
You don't, man. It has one thing that... And then
so there's no like...
No.
Okay.
You put the paddles on, hit the button, and then stand back.
But you gotta do a cool one-liner like Arnold will do.
What would you say?
In the words of Ace Frehley, shock me.
Let there be light. Yeah. We're going to rock down to Electric Avenue.
If I died at work...
Thunder.
I was gonna say, if I died at work and you're trying to think of a one-liner,
Ride me lightning, Ted.
I'm gonna haunt you for years.
1 in the 2 in the.
If I wake up and I hear one of you guys scream thunderstruck, I'm going to ask if you can say,
you been?
I give you the shocker.
Right. Like Mike's dead. Why are we laughing?
The defibrillator.
High voltage rock and roll.
Give somebody that one. That'll wake him up quick, right? Why didn't you use a defibrillator? I used the shocker.
Hit him in the testicles. He woke up instantly.
Just one little flick. I told you he was faking. Just have to graze. Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROD.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, Bechola.
Hola.
Okay, so one day I'm just driving down the road, and I see this truck pulled over, and they got a raging fire coming out of their carburetor on their old truck. And so luckily I have been in this situation before, which was unfortunate at the time, but now looking back at that moment, I was like, I know how to take care of this. So they're trying to sit there and beat the flame out with their jackets from a distance and just kind of smacking the flames. But fuel doesn't go out that way. You're just feeding the fire at that point. So I step out my car, and everybody is just passing right by. Nobody's offering help. So I pull over, I step out my car, and I'm like, you guys need help? And they're like, if you don't mind. And I noticed that it had just recently rained, so I roll my jacket on the ground to get it wet, and I toss it over the top to cut out the oxygen, so that way, it snuffs the fire.
And that worked?
Yeah, it worked just fine. Luckily, they were able to, nothing was damaged in their vehicle, so they were able to just start it right back up, and it just drove right off.
Damn. Fortunately, you lost a $400 North Face jacket in the process. Yeah. I guess you didn't get reimbursed for that.
No, they looked like they were pretty broke, so I didn't ask for anything in return. My jacket was actually pretty okay. It had a small burn spot in it, but it was like an Oakland brand, winter jacket. I wasn't worried about it.
I can't believe they could drive the car away.
That's the part that amazes me, yeah.
So what happens is if it gets too much fuel, sometimes it can kind of backlog into the carburetor, and when ignition happens, it'll actually light the fuel that's in the carburetor.
Okay. That makes sense. By the way, as people are chiming in on the defibrillator, most people are saying it is idiot-proof. It has pictures, it has instructions, it has voice instructions. But there is one key thing here. Someone says, hey, man, if someone's heart is in sudden ventricular, in other words, if it's out of whack, do not use a defibrillator. It's only for a heart that has stopped beating.
Okay.
That's what I know
That's an important thing to know.
Yeah, right. If the heart is stopped, then you can use it.
But Ted would have been fine. We broke out the defibrillator and killed him.
Yeah, right. He just had a bad rhythm or something.
I've never had a situation like that at work.
You got no rhythm.
Not in the workplace. I can never.
No, we had one in the workplace.
I don't remember a medical emergency ever happening.
Does this qualify as a medical emergency? It is the guy that electrocuted himself and died in Chi-Chi's.
Well, it's not a medical emergency. He
died. And look, it's not like he died while people are trying to revive him. He dropped to the ground dead. And it sounds bad, and I don't mean it this way, but this is not a medical emergency. It is a serious situation, but we don't need EMTs, even though they're the ones who show up, and I get it. But he's done. Man.
Right, when I watch that other coach fall over on third base, that's a medical emergency because we knew he was having a heart attack.
Yeah,
but we figured we still had time, right? So somebody started CPR. I ran out because we were way back at the back of this college to get the ambulance there. But the only time we really knew it was over was when the ambulance thought they were far enough away. They just turned off the lights and stopped working on him.
Okay, all right. And somebody here says a stroke. Baby aspirin can save their life. I carry a bottle in my purse and my car.
Baby aspirin.
Yeah, baby aspirin.
That's what. Isn't it aspirin too that works for people that have had a heart attack?
Heart attack. I want to say it's bigger. There's a bit of a
some
blood
people take one every day.
Kind of help.
I was going to say the
ass a man.
That's how I do it. Try to get some ass every day. The Aspen regimen. I hear older people talk about that.
Yeah. I'm a doctor. If you don't like bear, try to get you some ass.
Who needed your or someone else's help? 206-803-ROD.
I recommend you cut down on carbs and start getting laid more. Thanks, Doc.
You're over 40 now.
Right.
Hello, Christy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola. How's it going?
Doing great.
Good.
So, did you save someone or did someone save you?
I saved my sister from choking. I had to give her the Heimlich maneuvers.
How old were you?
We're a year and 9 days apart. So I want to say 22. She would have been 21, right around there.
Okay, so you're adults.
Yes.
And again, is this something that you've only seen on TV, or did you have any kind of training?
I had been training, like I'd done first aid training, officially got certified as a babysitter when I was younger, but I wasn't current, but I was aware of the procedure. I just hadn't gone over everything.
Yeah. Okay. My daughter took that class. What, do you remember what it is that she choked on?
I sure do, because I cooked it.
Oh, no. What was it?
It was just a lazy afternoon. We were living together, and our brother actually was living with us, too, out on this beach house, and it was just, we kind of coexisted, so it wasn't like planned dinners or anything like that, really, unless we did barbecues with friends. And so I had cooked a steak, and it was sitting on the cutting board in the kitchen, and I just cut it into some pieces, normal-sized pieces. It wasn't gristly or anything. I'm pretty picky about my steak, and so, like, it was a good cut of meat, you know, and I cut it up good. It was nice and tender. I had some. I offered some.
Was it that tender? Because she couldn't get it down her throat.
Well, that's just it. She has a little bit of dental work, so it's like, I don't know if it's got stuck, but what happened was, well, it's not like dentures or partials, but she had like some teeth that like had sharp edges, basically. But a piece got halfway stuck down. Like, tell me this hasn't happened to you, really. I mean, it half went down, half stayed in your mouth. You're like going, which way do you want to go here? Is it going to come back out, or is it going to go down? So
horrible feeling.
It is. It's scary. And the part of the process for me is the first thing you do is look for help. You know, she stood in the kitchen because I walked into my bedroom that was across from the kitchen. She stood there, and to her right is an opening to the dining area where one roommate who was, you know, a few years younger than us and kind of not all there sometimes. And so there's option number one. And then across from the kitchen, the opposite direction to her left is directly to my bedroom. My back is towards her. She stands there and looks back and forth between the two of us while she's realizing she can't breathe. And I'm like, looking back, I'm going, why in the heck did you just stand there? Like, what? Like, she's like, well, I wasn't going to go to him. What's he going to do? And I'm like, okay, so when she gets to me, like I said, my back was turned. She whips me around by the shoulders, and we don't play fight or anything like that. So I was really caught off guard, and I was like, what, dude?
Typical sibling response. What?
Oh, seriously? Well, because we don't touch each other like that. So I was like, what do you want? You know? And her eyes are bloodshot, sticking out of her head. Her face is almost purple. Her lips are almost blue, and she's making the most god-awful sound I've ever heard in my life. It's just like this, like, and I looked at her, and my first response was, no.
That's your first response.
My first response was to look at her like, you're totally joking right now. This is not happening. And she's got her hands up by her collarbone. She just nods her head yes. And this noise is still coming out of her. I'm just like, make that stop. And so I just, yeah.
I'm not trying to save your life. It's just the sound of you's annoying.
It was so scary. And there's a joke over her when she was a baby that she used to growl when she ate her food. And my parents always joked that she sounded like the kid on The Shining saying red rum.
She used to growl when she ate her food?
Yeah, she nom, 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 nom.
So what was she mumbling? Like, A1, A1. Save me from this awful steak you made.
Hey, she gets the Costco size A1. She still eats steak, by the way.
Just not yours.
You know, I didn't want to cook for her for a long time after this happened.
No.
But yeah, so I whipped her around in return. Obviously, I got to pay her back the favor immediately, and I whipped her ass around. And I just went, hey, you know what? Are you ready? And she just nodded very slowly, and she was going. Like, she was fading. She was no oxygen.
You asked her if she's ready. Yeah, right. She's ready. She was ready.
God almighty.
Yeah, she's had the class, and so I'm like, you know, I could break your ribs right now is what I'm saying to her, you know, but I didn't say that out loud or anything. I'm like, are you ready? And she just nodded. And so I did it. And she's smaller than me. She's very petite. She probably weighed 109 pounds at the time. And, you know, I'm probably like $140 something. So I'm like going, I'm going to squeeze the crap out of your little body right now. And so I did one, not even knowing if I hit the right spot. And it did. She felt something, but I didn't hear or feel anything at all. And somehow neither her or I know, but I said, did it work? And by now I'm kind of panicked almost. And then she was able out of nowhere to get this breath, and she's like, go again. And like neither her or I, she did not inhale. So it's like she doesn't even know where that came from. And I did it one more time, and it wasn't even cool. It just flopped out of her mouth. I made this like slapping noise onto the ground.
All right. Oh, God. And then the dog came in. Yeah, right. Save that for your brother. Who Sucks Less is coming up next, along with your emails to the men's room at KISW.com.
Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Feeling overwhelmed and unsure what to do next? Look no further. The personal injury attorneys at Phillips Law Firm are here to help. Phillips Law Firm understands that accidents can turn your life upside down. That's why they're dedicated to fighting for the compensation you deserve and to making the process as stress-free as possible. Don't wait any longer. Call now, 1-800-JUSTICE, or visit justiceforyou.com.
It's after bedtime, the kids are asleep, and the moms are out to play.
We're Dina and Kristen, the duo behind the Instagram account Big Little Feelings. I'm Dina. I'm a child therapist and mom of two who nerds out on all things neurobiology and psychology. And Kristen is a parent coach who wrangles 3 kids on a daily basis, here to give it to us like it is.
We weren't meant to do this parenting thing alone. Consider After Bedtime your village.
Follow After Bedtime with Big Little Feelings on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith from the Men's Room. And did you know I have a podcast? Well, I do. The Podcast. New episodes uploaded every Wednesday on the Odyssey app.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Looks like Celeste coming up the first time for a few emails from the Men's Room at KISW.com.
You've got mail.
And a few from our question today. Who needed your or someone else's help? Gentlemen, multiple times when my wife and I have gone out shopping, on vacation, etc., we've had people go down in front of us with seizures. My wife works in healthcare and takes control of the situation while everyone freezes or freaks out. I'm trained in first aid and CPR, but I usually do crowd control. It has become, strangely, a bit of a routine. It is good that we're there, she in particular, but it's odd how much it seems to happen. That from Terry. Guys, I'm a paramedic in a satellite station with one other person. One morning at 3 a.m., we hear a knock on the door. I jump up in my underwear and woke up my partner because there is a schizophrenic guy next door, and I was worried that he was knocking. Well, our other neighbor was there saying his wife was in labor. So I quickly went back, put on my pants, but forgot to zip the fly or buckle my belt. Good thing I was wearing boxer briefs. When we got to his wife, she was holding a baby, and I thought to myself, okay, it's all done. She said, there's another one in me. I don't remember this, but apparently my quote was, out. I caught that baby and was elbow deep in amniotic fluid. With it being 3 a.m. and not time to wake up and clear my eyes, I exclaimed, it's a boy. They had twin girls. I still cringe about that.
Okay, I don't know, one of the two.
Bitches, decades ago, I lived in New York City for a summer. I was walking to work on a super busy street, one-way traffic, 5 or 6 lanes wide, tons of people on the sidewalk. A cab cut across 4 or 5 lanes, hit a motorcycle, knocked the guy down, and trapped him under the bike. It happened about 50 feet in front of me. There were probably 40 or 50 people between me and the motorcycle, and no one stopped to help this guy. I was in disbelief. So I ran up, lifted the bike off the guy, offered to call 911, but he said no, and then off he went. Love the show, guys. That from Mark. As we move on to the birthdays. Hello, naked ladies. Today is our son Calvin's 13th birthday. He is a lean, mean eating machine who loves playing video games. So can he get a look out, a fart, and an owl thud? Maybe the captain explaining the importance of proper joystick maintenance. That from Chris, Cassandra, Corbin, and Carly in Oak Harbor. Thanks, guys, and rock on.
Look out.
Ooh, well, ahoy there. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that if your son is like the old Capitan, I'm pretty sure that at age 13, joystick maintenance is a little something that he has explored in great detail and does it well. Don't you worry about that. Crunch berries.
Guys, today's Erica's 17th trip around the sun. Can she get a mix of fish sandwiches? And Coach Ted psyching her up for her senior year of high school. Lots of love and happy birthday. That from Dad, Mom, and Katie.
Can I get
a filet of fish sandwich?
So you know I got
I'll have a fish sandwich.
Oh, brother, can I have a fish sandwich? With the cheese and the tartar on the side.
I'll order a fish sandwich.
Is it too early for a fish sandwich? Cheese and tartar on the side. Oh, yeah. I smell the fish sandwich. Maybe some dinner relish in the morning. At noon. And at night.
Can I buy you a fish sandwich?
Though you don't want a fish sandwich?
All right, Erica.
senior year of high school. Now that you've heard it all the years, the junior year was the most important year of your life in school. Well, that one's out of the way. Senior year can be pretty fun, but we're in the first semester. We got to lock it down and focus. You get to that second semester, get some soft electives in there, enjoy yourself. If you play a sport, whether you're a starter or just a backup, either way, you need to practice hard all year. This is your last chance to win a championship. Now, lastly, let's talk about this spring. It's going to be a lot of options. Pick and choose wisely, all right? I'm talking parties, post-prom parties, even post-homecoming parties. You got a whole college or life ahead of you to parties. Just have some fun. Use a little caution. Other than that, have a blast out there.
Guys, it's my boyfriend's birthday today, and he loves the Dirty Germans. Can you give him a shout-out? His name is Felix. He's 17. We cannot do a Dirty German thing until he is 18 years old there, Tony, but we'll give him your penis is too small to make up for it.
Well, 17.
I don't know if that really helps either.
Hey, he's not.
We can't
not
do
an
dirty
adult
Germans. You're not an adult. It's penis. Teeny kind of thing.
Guys, Coop Cooper here. Just want to get a birthday shout out for my baby brother Nick, pronounced Nickel-Ass Cooper. He is 27. So can you give him Frank the Tank with some advice on what to do for his birthday? And Coach Ted giving him some life advice. Then from your oldest brother, thanks, guys. You are the best.
Oh, it's your birthday. Well, you know the saying, don't poke the bear. Well, this big old naughty bear wants to be poked. And now with your fingers. I want your fingers in my mouth, and keep in mind, candles aren't the only thing I want you to blow tonight.
Yeah. All right, Cooper, you're 27. I would say, first of all, it's an odd little year right now, right? You're not 30. You're past your mid-20s, but you can still party like a 20-year-old. So enjoy that aspect. Now, 27, also might be time to start thinking about saving a little money, as you're going to need it soon. The prices aren't going down. Other than that, enjoy making fun of your friends in their 30s for a couple more years while you still can.
Guys, please give a birthday shout out to our amazing daughter, Jessica. It's her 30th trip around the sun. We want to celebrate with a fish sandwich montage and a few farts. Dad and I love you, Jess. Thanks so much.
Can I get
A fillet of fish sandwich.
So you know I got
I'll have a fish sandwich.
Brother, can I have a sandwich with the cheese and the tartar on the side?
I'll order a fish sandwich.
Is it too early for a fish sandwich? Cheese and tartar on the side. I smell the fish sandwich. Maybe some your relish in the morning. At noon and at night.
Buy you a fish sandwich.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you don't want a fish sandwich?
Guys, I want to give a special birthday shout out to a very special person, my wife, Amy Jean. Known each other since we were in grade school. You're the most beautiful person with a heart as big as the heavens and love you so much. Sassy, classy, even brassy. And my Wonder Woman. Let's see here. How about the Dirty Germans telling Amy about working in the legal field and some inspirational words from Miles. Thank you, guys. We love you all. That from the Elk Plain Drifter, who says P.S. Also shouts out to Brenda and Tuya. These ladies also share the same birthday.
Oh, Plain Drifter, I think you left out patient.
Yeah, I hear that your heart is as big as the heavens. How about that ass? But also, as far as working in the legal field for us dirty Germans, that means 18 and above.
Yeah, as you know, I have a lot of friends that work in the legal field. They tell me a couple of important things. Number one, call me if you need help, unless it's the feds. Too late.
I know that's a real quote, isn't it?
Oh, you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's like, don't even bother.
It's amazing how you never stop learning important things in life and experiencing things that you never had.
Sure.
I used to never understand why people liked peppermint body wash. Then one day I said to hell with it, and I bought some. It is amazing. Like my butthole just smoked a Newport. And finally, Batolas. How about a shout out to my boy Justin, pronounced Rat, for his 40th birthday. Much love from all the friends back here home in Oak Harbor. Could he please get a 21 sound salute? Thanks again from Chris in Oak Harbor.
A script is a story. It's not a storybook.
Oh my God! What the is that, bro?
Dip responsibly.
Damn.
She wants a D, and she's going to get one.
I just said that. Holy Jay!
If it's a person like we went to McDonald's or something, I ordered a fish sandwich, she'll bite the whole thing.
Hashtag good advice. Uh-oh, look out.
So, suck it up, cupcake!
Please clap.
All right, guys, here we go. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ya's a Dirty Germans brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefly.
Now, the men's room wants to know who sucks last?
Yay! Time for Who Sucks Last. Steve Troll, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. They all suck. It's up to us to determine, though, out of the 3 stories, which one sucks the least. Now, if you follow KISW on Facebook or Twitter, the debate is already underway on Who Sucks Less.
Like you said, Miles, we have 3 stories. We have one where kids wanted to take a field trip, but it's not going to happen. We have a Belgian cyclist who felt insulted by social media.
Belgian,
and then finally, we go back to the world of air travel, where a couple of passengers were unhappy with their seats. But let us start with the kids from New Jersey. Seniors from a New Jersey high school. They showed up at Newark Liberty International Airport ready to fly overseas for a, quote, Jewels of Italy trip before heading off to jobs in college. Something they do every year at the school. Well, instead, they got a most, quote, unpleasant surprise. The discovery that the plane tickets that they'd paid for did not exist. An attorney filed a lawsuit for 18 of the travelers from the high school. Altogether, the plaintiffs put about $70,000 toward this 9-day trip. Travel agent Rose Fasolari and her companies, Exclusively Yours Worldwide Travel and Ablex, they took the cash that they sent to her via Venmo, but they never actually booked the trip to Rome, Naples, Sorrento, and Sicily. It was like 4-city trip. So about a dozen or so travelers said they were actually able to get on board an outgoing flight to Naples. But then they found out that once they got to Italy, the other legs of the trip, they weren't paid for, including the plane ride back to Newark. Well, on a Zoom call after the airport debacle, the woman who dropped the ball on this insisted what had happened had been an error and said that she would rebook the trip, but that trip was also ultimately canceled. So the suit alleges that while some of the families have received partial refunds, Fasolari, she failed to remit payments to the entire group and failed to provide a full refund. So each family forked over about $4,000 ahead of the trip. Meanwhile, her attorneys say, well, she's working tirelessly to arrange the payback of all the seniors that she's, quote, heartbroken over what happened. The thing is, you got their money. Unless you spent it on something else, you have the money to give back. She simply hasn't. But no one knew until day of. Jesus. So there's that. Now we go to Belgium, where a cyclist who went viral after he was filmed kneeing a little girl and knocking her to the ground as he rode past her. He won his court case against the girl's father because he posted the footage online. So a court is going to determine in April of next year how much compensation he's entitled to after he successfully argued that he was defamed. He previously demanded about $4,500, about the price of his bike. So here's the thing. The footage was filmed by the 5-year-old's dad, a guy named Patrick Mapassa. And he filmed it during a family walk in a nature reserve over there in Belgium. It was on Christmas Day. Well, the cyclist was originally taken to court for kneeing the kid, only to be given a suspended sentence on the grounds that he'd been criticized enough on social media. And he was ordered to pay that girl's family $1 in compensation. So the video shows him knocking the youngster to the ground, causing her to topple over. So in the video, the 5-year-old girl is seen walking by her mother's side on the snow-covered path as the cyclist approaches them from behind. So he can see them in front of him. But just as he rides alongside the girl, he extends his knee out, hitting the girl in the back, knocking her to the ground before continuing on his way unbothered. So the family believed it was not an accident, because it wasn't. As the man did not stop to check to see if the girl was okay, he carried on. But the court decided that the cyclist was free to go because he'd incurred enough criticism on social media over the incident. But the story did not end there. Almost a year after the incident, the cyclist went back to court to sue the girl's father for defamation. And he did so on the grounds that the backlash from the video resulted in him feeling so threatened by the public that he was scared to leave his own home. Meanwhile, the father says he lost the case and he could be ordered to pay compensation It's absolutely ridiculous. So keep in mind, and I said to Mike earlier, if you don't want people taping you doing bad things in public, don't do bad things in public. Because it always gets posted. Yep. But he won his case. Because people on social media think he's a douchebag. Because he's a douchebag. And now he is going to get compensation for the fact that he need a 5-year-old girl to the ground. And now we have 2 passengers booked for a flight from Vegas to Montreal. They were escorted off the plane before takeoff, all because they wouldn't sit in their seats. Their puked-soaked seats. The incident took place on Air Canada, which Susan Benson, who was also a passenger, she was also one of the witnesses. So in a Facebook post, Benson describes how she was seated behind a man and 2 women who were struggling to get seated, apparently tied to the, quote, foul smell that Benson said was wafting through the cabin. Soon it became clear to Benson and others that someone had thrown up while sitting in those seats in front of her on a previous flight. So Air Canada attempted a quick cleanup before boarding, but clearly wasn't able to do a thorough clean. She notes that the crew members placed coffee grinds in the seat pouch and sprayed perfume to mask the smell, but the new passengers who were seated there, they were upset, telling the flight attendant that the seat and seatbelt were wet and there was still visible vomit residue in the area. According to Benson, the flight attendant did not apologize, but noted that the flight was full and they'd have to stay in those seats. Well, that didn't sit well with the passengers. But Benson says they tried to prep their seating for the next 4+ hours with blankets and wipes that they requested from a reluctant crew. They said, all right, we'll sit in the seats. Can you give us blankets and all this? Crew's like, fine. That's when the pilot emerged out of the cockpit and told the 2 irritated women they could leave the plane on their own accord and organize flights on their own dime, or they'd be escorted off the plane by security and placed on a no-fly list. Again, because they don't want to sit in seats that are covered in vomit of someone they don't know. So the witness, Benson, she describes the women as upset but firm, but not rude. But the pair was indeed escorted off the plane by security. The plane was delayed in its Montreal arrival about half an hour. But Benson tells the paper that she publicized the incident on social media and tagged Air Canada in the post so that the airline would do something about it. So again, the 3 stories. You have a group of seniors from a high school in New Jersey. It's an annual trip that I guess they do there to go check out Italy. Between all of them, they paid $70,000. The booking agent did not book any of the trips and has not refunded them as well. Keep in mind, this was supposed to take place in July. So she's out a little bit of time. Right. She still has not made up. We have the Belgian cyclist who went out of his way to drop his knee into a little girl because she was, quote unquote, in his way as he's biking. The father posted the video instead of beating his ass. And now this guy, the court has agreed with him that, hey, I should get compensation because people on social media are mean that I'm a douchebag. And then finally, you have the passengers on Air Canada who, according to witnesses, were not being difficult. They're just trying to protect their position. That I don't want to sit in a seat that is covered with someone else's puke. Right. And they got escorted off by security. Those are your 3 stories.
Golly. I'm going to go Air Canada sucks the least.
You think?
Well, you need a little girl and knock her to the ground. I know that the guy won the lawsuit. The judge sucks.
The judge sucks. That's what Mike said to me. He goes, look, man, the guy can be a douchebag. The fact that the court, that's disappointing.
Yeah, but they might have different rules, too.
They guarantee they do. Yep. We know how that goes. Different countries have different rules. But I'm just saying, as a father, if I saw an adult do that to my kid intentionally, brother, you'd be lucky to have a court case. They'd have to find your goddamn body parts in the trees.
I mean, you didn't stop.
Hopefully the 2 women got on a different flight. Hopefully they made it to where they were going to go.
I'm sure they did, but they had to do it on their own dime. And all they're saying is, I don't want to sit in a seat that is covered with the vomit.
I think this will be taken care of eventually.
Eventually.
But during the actual time, the situation does suck. However, if you knee a little girl and knock her to the ground on your bicycle, that's a little bit more aggressive. I'd rather be kicked off a flight than have that happen to somebody's little girl.
Agreed.
Hey, have you seen the video?
I have not.
The cyclist guy?
It doesn't look as bad as I thought it would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he kind of throws... Plus, he's a bicyclist.
Yeah.
So to me, this is par for the course. Look, don't get me wrong, I'd be super pissed. It didn't look as violent as I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
Now, with that said, I think I'm not going to let him off the hook.
No.
But man, that Air Canada one's tough because if you're sitting in somebody else's vomit, you could get sick.
I don't know. Right. I don't know what's wrong with them.
I feel like the one that can get them
resolved
the easiest is going to be the travel agent that stole those kids' money.
I agree.
So I'll say that one sucks the least, and that's just
because it can be resolved if you just do the right thing.
Yeah, and in this day and age, it's not like they showed up with 70 G's in cash.
Right, it was Venmo.
All right. So they sent it to the booking agent.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. There's got to be a way to get that back.
They just got to figure it out, right?
I'd hope so.
Yeah. Debate continues on Who Sucks Less if you follow KISW on Twitter. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Before you know it, the end of the year will be here. So remember to use your vision benefits before they expire. Schedule eye exams today for the whole family by visiting pearlvision.com. Pearl Vision will cover the cost of your insurance copay or eye exam, plus they accept all major vision plans, including iMed. Valid prescription required. Valid at participating locations. Restrictions apply. Taxes extra. See store for details. Ends 12/31/23. Exams available at the independent doctors of optometry at or next to Pearl Vision. Some doctors employed by Pearl Vision.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Count on this. We'll drink a toast for the shot of the day. And we do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check out with Mike Hawk and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, 3 out of 4 mobile gamers say video games have improved their lives.
I can believe that. Yeah. I mean, if that's what you are into.
Sure. We all need our stress relief. We all need something that helps us focus and just kind of reorganize our brains from time to time.
People do
What
get
is
really,
mobile gaming? Like you're doing it on the run?
On your phone, yeah.
Yep, that adds up.
On your mobile phone.
I was like, mobile gamers?
Yeah.
They're driving their car playing this?
That seems dangerous. I don't know. Like, I have a couple buddies that do it, and I don't know. It's a good way to pass time, I guess.
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, video games always get a bad rap, and I get why people say it, but when you look just a little deeper, it's not the worst thing in the world. Your kids are going to be interested in what they're interested in.
Correct.
It's just very my daughter likes to draw. I mean, she wastes hours a day at the dining room table drawing pictures of things I can't necessarily identify.
Mm-hmm. It gives me a little sense of focus and some escapism while I'm doing it, so it's just it
and
resets
some
the
brain coordination.
It's like a defibrillator for the brain.
A defibrillator for the brain, but with less instructions.
Correct.
Plus, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people spend a lot of time just scrolling and looking at stuff on your phone anyhow.
No, that's okay, Ted.
No, right. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. What's the difference if you're playing a game?
Exactly. A list just came out of the happiest states in the U.S.
Happiest states.
The happiest states in the U.S. Actually, quite the opposite.
Really? Utah,
number 1. Hawaii comes in at number 2, and then the great state of Maryland comes in at number 3.
Get out of here.
Maryland?
Really?
Maryland.
That's cool.
It's a happy state out there, Maryland.
Wow. You know what?
A lot of crabs.
I would say Maryland has tremendous state pride.
Absolutely.
It's difficult to explain, and I don't even know why we do, but we do, right?
Mm-hmm. It's an awesome state.
And a large sense of community.
I'd believe that.
Maybe that's it. Maybe if you go to Maryland, and Mike, you could go there. My name is Mike. Where are you from? Seattle. Do you know this person? Within 3 questions, you know someone they know.
Oh, God.
Somehow, yeah. I mean, it's an amazing.
I mean, I was talking about Maryland to one of my cousins, right? He grew up in Massachusetts. And I said, I just hung a bunch of pictures. This was last week. He goes, where's the state flag? And I said, well, it's over my couch in my living room. And he's like, Jesus, he's like, you Maryland people. And I said, well, it is a cool, number one, our flag's cool. It's one of the only flags left over.
It's ridiculous.
From the from this coat of arms. And also, I like taking pride in the fact that when old General Lee and the damn Confederates thought they were just going to cruise into Maryland, Antietam, everybody's going to open arms for them. Like, some people did, but a lot of them did not.
There you go.
And it helped kind of change some of the tide.
We are a merry land of merry people.
One of my next tattoos, I believe, will involve a crab. If you're from Maryland, you go, of course. If you're from anywhere else, you go, that's stupid.
That's weird.
Yeah, I now have an Old Bay with a beer picture in my kitchen. I have a crab that just looks like the state flag on my fridge.
I have a crab bottle. What is wrong with us? I mean, honestly, God, now that I'm saying it out loud, like, what is wrong with us?
And you guys are everywhere, too.
State pride.
The flag is loud and ugly, but if that's where you're from, you dig it.
My whole life growing up, the only thing I look forward to was my vacation with my family in the summer in Maryland.
Oh, yeah?
Sometimes
going to the beach?
Yeah. That's what I look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Also, the least happy states, Tennessee is the 3rd least happy state.
Hold on. Arkansas, West Virginia. No, Arkansas, Mississippi.
West Virginia.
Louisiana, number 2.
All right.
And then, yes, West Virginia is number 1.
Yes, we're number 1. We're number 1.
Where's Mississippi on that list? Because, Miles, here's the good news. If West Virginia's unhappy, they're self-aware. If you live in Mississippi and you're not unhappy, you're not self-aware. You do not know what's happening around you.
All right. And like I always say, it's the SEC schools. Yeah. Great football traditions. There's the trade-off.
Sad people. Lunchables is introducing a microwavable grilled cheese sandwich.
All right.
Yeah. Why not?
I'd give it a go. I mean, it's Lunchables, so expect what you expect, but I'm sure it'll get the job done.
I would not eat that as an adult, but if I were a kid and heard that news, I guarantee within a month we're going to have those in our freezer.
You bet, man.
Yeah, Lunchables are just fun for kids. And I don't know that they even like them that much. It's just the idea that's in that little package.
I think they don't know that they don't like them that much.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Let's back up just a little bit back to heritages and all that stuff. Slang also falls into certain demographics and certain geolocations there. So there's a handful of slang terms that actually don't come from this state that we, quite frankly, have no idea what they mean unless your name is the Ted Smith. So let's see if Ted can get them all on today's
The Men's Room Top 10. The Men's Room Top 10. 10 British phrases that always confuse Americans. How about bangers and mash? What a disappointment that was.
Right there with you.
Imagine the look on my face when I discovered their meaning for a boiler. A little harsh, but one I can get behind is having a good chin wag. I was having one earlier today while chatting with a coworker and taking in the tarts out on Fifth Avenue. Blimey indeed.
That's a good chin wag, that man.
Yeah.
So these are British phrases that always confuse Americans. Dodgy.
What is it?
Dodgy. Something can be dodgy. That guy's kind of
questionable.
Dodgy. Yeah.
Okay.
A little suspect.
Correct.
That'd be sus, Ted. Come on, get with the times.
Right. It's unsafe. It's untrustworthy. It's sketch.
Dodgy. Okay.
Right.
Dodgy.
How about when someone pops their clogs?
Takes off their shoes? Oh, yeah.
You think?
No.
Not quite.
Pops their clogs. I don't know that one. Does that mean...
My daughter went to the bathroom in their bathroom and did to plunge it.
I was going to say, a foreigner from the Netherlands is dancing.
You know, recently, Bob Bucker, he went off and popped his clogs.
Died.
Died.
Basically like kick the bucket.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Yeah, popped his clogs.
I like that.
It's an easier way to say it.
It sounds nice. It's like, man, he took his shoes off.
Well, we say kick the bucket.
Right.
Which is a suicide
which is
reference.
Even worse, right.
But it sounds soft when you say it.
Oh, I always forget. I always forget that's a suicide reference.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And honestly,
that's awful.
Right up until he brought it up, and I kind of took it to mind. It's like, oh, yeah, the same thing. I completely forgot about that one. What if someone's totally chuffed?
Totally. Drunk?
Not
guessing.
quite. Ted, any guess there?
Totally chuffed? Are they all like mad about something?
You know, quite the opposite. Rams fans were totally chuffed on Sunday.
Oh, they're excited.
Excited, man.
Okay.
They're pleased or delighted.
Really?
Totally chuffed.
Chuffed sounds negative.
Totally chuffed.
Maybe it's just the U.S. ear, but yeah, I would
Some
assume
of those
they're angry.
terms are so weird, though.
They
You know what I mean?
are,
Like,
man.
I'm with you. That just, to me, that doesn't sound like a positive.
No, it doesn't.
I should
But it
find
is.
some of the origins of these and bring it up on a different program here. But yeah, I'd like to see some of the origins there. What about when someone puts a spanner in the works?
Spanner?
What?
Spanner in the works.
So spanner in the works.
Spanner.
Plan in action.
Spanner in the works.
Spanner in the works. Jeez, Mike, these are tough ones.
It's to mess up a carefully outlined plan. So it's basically a wrench in the
okay.
machine. Throwing a wrench into it.
All right, so somebody just changes the plans halfway through, or
Exactly.
didn't actually get tickets to Glasbury.
I will say this: my first wife, he had a first wife years ago, and she was from England. But when we first met, we were at a bar. Do you want another drink? No, because when I drink more, I get pissed. Well, in the U.S., pissed is angry, and I'm like, then you have a problem, which turned out to be true later. But anyway, we're going through. It took like 10 minutes to get through. Sorry, Mike.
Kick that one up.
But finally, she was like, "What do you think I mean?" I'm like, you get angry." She's like, "No, pissed means drunk."
It means drunk.
Okay, well, everybody gets drunk when they drink, right?
He's
That's
pissed.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He seems like he's having a great time. He's just drunk.
Yeah,
But it's weird because I went to England and you hear people go, I'm quite pissed right now. And you had to remind yourself, they're in a good spot. They're
You all
just
right,
drunk.
man?
They're not angry.
Yeah, and somebody could be on the piss, off the piss.
Take the piss, right.
Right. I mean, they use it a lot.
You might hear this one when the elevator opens. Again, these are British phrases that always confuse Americans. Budge up.
Make room.
Make room. Scoot over.
Scoot over.
Budge up.
Well, I mean, first of all, they wouldn't call it an elevator.
That's right. They
It's
call it
a
a
lift.
lift.
It's a lift.
It's a lift. How about
Tom
there's
Cruise calls those his shoes.
Those two over there, they're like chalk and cheese. Chalk
Sorry,
and cheese. I shouldn't do it in the accent, my bad. Chalk and cheese.
Chalk and cheese. They don't get along? Is that our oil and vinegar?
Kind of, yeah, they're completely different.
Okay.
They're fundamentally incompatible. They're like chalk and cheese.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why would you have chalk with your cheese?
Exactly.
Why would you have cheese with your chalk?
Parmesan.
Though I have described cheese as chalky before. There's some...
Really?
Yeah.
But you're not happy about it.
I would think like a feta cheese is a little chalky to me.
See, I think it's kind of creamy.
Got a creamy nature to it, but there's a dryness right there in the
To me, the only thing I describe that I eat as chalky.
Chalk? No. Okay, just want to make sure. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I've been looking for my sidewalk chalk. I can't put my hands on it.
Something that could be...
I was going to say Tums. Or antacid.
Is chalky, yes.
Right, like, they don't taste good, but that's like the only real chalky thing where you're like, all right, no, this is helping.
There you go. Something that could possibly said several times in this room is taking the mickey.
Making fun of, having fun with...
Calm down, Brev. We're just taking the mickey.
What's messing with you, man?
Teasing with another person or making jokes at their expense.
Put the knife
taking
away.
the mickey. Put the knife away.
Taking the mickey.
Taking the mickey.
See, again,
I'm covering my drink when you walk by.
That's another term. That's another one that I don't know that one, but I have hung out.
Cosby feels different.
I've hung out with British people who also, again, will use piss to be like, I'm just taking the piss out of you.
Yeah.
Well, right.
So I'm saying they use it too much.
They do, man.
Yeah, but most countries say that. What is the term that we say in this country where there's the S-bomb, because you can be cool as, ugly as.
Sure. Same
there's
with
that
F.
one, but there's one more that we use more than any country, but you have to understand the context, because it can be good, it can be bad.
Oh, the F word.
Or does it come between your legs? Oh, yeah.
Or the S word, too.
This
Salty
is
as
my mother effer right here.
Right.
That is a compliment.
I was going to say
Do you see this mother effer over here? Now it's an insult, right? But one thing they say, when you come to the States, if it is their blank or if it is the blank, that's positive. If it is a
this
blank, same word, right, or this, then it's bad. So MFer and the S-bomb.
Have a kip.
Have a kip.
Have a kip.
KIP?
Yes. Look a little toy. Need a kip?
Oh, nap?
Need a little nap.
A little more rest, a little shine.
Yeah. How about a budge job?
Ooh. Budge job?
I'll take one. Job.
Just somebody didn't do something right?
So actually, it kind of sounds like a botched job, which refers to an absolute failure
That's
or
what I'm
something done
thinking.
properly. A botched job is actually coming up with a makeshift or haphazard solution that fixes things temporarily.
So MacGyver it
Correct.
is what we would say. Okay.
Correct.
Is there another term for us in the States besides MacGyver?
Jerry rig.
Right, I always said jerry
rig. You can say jerry rig, but I feel like we say MacGyver when it's more on the spot. You jerry rig something you knew about for 3 months. Your wife's getting on your nerves.
Correct.
MacGyver it is, hey man, this happened in the moment. I MacGyvered this son of a bitch. And
it involves duct tape.
Yes.
Yes.
And vacuum
chewed gum
cleaners.
and rubber bands and
Jerry rig.
Gruber.
Jerry rig.
You don't need to tell me I know.
All right, I'll just say I'm not a fan of that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I've put an asterisk next to it every time I've said it since.
Just change it to Jerry.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. That's what's like. I was like, I don't know. Is there anything besides MacGyver?
No, grab the tiger by his toe.
Was that the first time the country became woke? We jerry rigged it. We caught a tiger by his toe.
Changing our slang terms are taking over. You're full of beans. Again, these are British phrases that always confuse Americans. You're full of beans.
Crap.
That's what
Just BS?
No, you're cheerful and currently in high spirits.
Oh,
he's full of beans.
He's full of beans. To waffle on.
Waffle on.
Yeah, it's what
Do
a lot
not
of
stop
people.
talking.
Exactly. It's what a lot of people in this room can do. Just waffle on. Just keep on talking endlessly, nonstop. But the number one British phrase that always confuses Americans. This one, I'm sure that you've got it, Ted. Bagsy. Bagsy.
Can you use it in a sentence without giving it away?
It honestly is a one-word sentence. Bagsy.
Is that like calling
Hey, look at those.
shotgun?
See those cookies over there? Bagsy.
Like dibs?
Dibs. You're calling dibs.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
They say Bagsy with it. Enjoy that. So there you go. Some British phrases for your minds and brain candy there. Finally.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Looks our own Miles Montgomery's been messing with construction signs in Texas. He'll give you all the details at 5:50.
Oh, I'm going to give it to you right now.
Is that right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Then I don't have to wait. Who cares about 550? All right, let's get a contest on the line for Profile. That's a 206-803-ROCK.
Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Feeling overwhelmed and unsure what to do next? Look no further. The personal injury attorneys at Phillips Law Firm are here to help. Phillips Law Firm understands that accidents can turn your life upside down. That's why they're dedicated to fighting for the compensation you deserve and to making the process as stress-free as possible. Don't wait any longer. Call now, 1-800-JUSTICE, or visit justiceforyou.com.
It's after bedtime, the kids are asleep, and the moms are out to play.
We're Dina and Kristen, the duo behind the Instagram account Big Little Feelings. I'm Dina. I'm a child therapist and mom of two who nerds out on all things neurobiology and psychology. And Kristen is a parent coach who wrangles 3 kids on a daily basis, here to give it to us like it is.
We weren't meant to do this parenting thing alone. Consider After Bedtime your village.
Follow After Bedtime with Big Little Feelings on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Want more Men's Room content? Follow the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app and check out my live stream, A Moment with Mike Hawk and Nothing in Particular with Steve the Thrill Hill. Going live Thursdays and Fridays at 1, exclusively on the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app.
Have we made it to drinking time?
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is. As usual, we head to the Drink Task and Steve at Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. You'll hear more about this in headlines I have discovered. But today we toast an anonymous prankster in Houston, Texas. And God knows Houston could use it. So this past Monday, this particular person gained access to an electronic construction sign. And naturally, they changed the message that was displayed on it. Because let's face it, if you can get access to it, I'm going to put up anything that says something different than what you had. Now, instead of relying helpful information about road work up ahead, the message read, due to weather. Go F yourself. But they didn't say F. It was the full word. And keep in mind, it was in all caps. Now, the message stayed up there for several hours before it finally got taken down. No word on who was behind it or what the charges are they might face. But what we found out is on those signs, it's not something you can do from far away. You physically have to interact with the sign. So there's something where you like unlock the back, you get into the electronics, and then you change it. So they're like, look, man, no one actually hacked it. Someone physically went and did it. So they believe it's either a current or former person that worked on the construction crew. But again, due to weather, go F yourself.
I mean, in theory, though, if I had ever worked on a road construction crew in any state, I would know how to get into that sign.
Yeah, that's it. You know, so they're like, look, it's somebody that has worked construction. Doesn't even mean on that crew because they're all universal.
Right.
They're going, man, we just don't know who it is. It could have been someone from out of state that worked construction and goes, I got a great idea. Either way, I love it. Just due to weather, go F yourself. So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies.
Down the hola, bichola!
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Steve Thrill Hill, could you please, everyone? Now, Profile This is played.
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Ted, Miles, Mike, you're playing against each other.
Okay.
But you have one of 3 categories to choose from: interior decorating, hit me with your best shot, and animalize this.
I pick animalize this.
Here is your story. Police in North Carolina, they responded to remove an animal that, quote, hitched a ride in the front grille of a vehicle. Kannapolis Fire and Police Officer Jason Whitley responded when a driver discovered the front half of an animal sticking out from the front grille of a Subaru after a drive. Quote, the little guy hitched a ride from Mooresville to Kannapolis and didn't want to leave. Now, Whitley was able to extract the animal from the vehicle. Police said they found a new home for it, which was believed to be an escaped or abandoned pet in the first place. The question is, What was the animal that, quote, hitched a ride? Was it a raccoon? Was it a parrot? Was it a snake? Or was it a tortoise? So raccoon, parrot, snake, or tortoise, what hitched the ride in the grill of someone's car?
Do we know the location?
Is this Canada?
North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
Kannapolis. Where's Kannapolis in North Carolina?
Whatever.
No freaking idea, but it's North Carolina.
Kannapolis.
The fact that they kind of seem relaxed about it, called him little guy, believes it to be an escaped pet, I think that this was a turtle.
Turtle. So tortoise.
Tortoise.
I'm going to go parrot just because it sounds funny.
It does sound funny.
And did you say the animal survived or died?
Yeah, it did survive, and they're going to take it to a new home because they believe that this animal was someone's pet, so they're just trying to find someone. They're not looking for the original owners. They're just looking for someone who will take it in.
I mean, I kind of agree with Miles, but just to pick a different one, I don't know why they'd have a pet raccoon, but I'm calling raccoon.
Raccoon.
Trash panda.
What took a hitch? What hitched a ride? There was a raccoon, a parrot, a snake, or a tortoise. We're going to find out next.
That was a tease.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Categories analyze this. We're going to go Carolinas, I believe.
That is correct.
Where someone's pet hitched a ride in the front grill of a Subaru for quite a few miles. The pet was reunited with its owner?
No, they believe it was a lost pet, and they're looking for it.
Okay. So the question was, what hitched a ride in the car in the front of the grill? A raccoon, a parrot, a snake, or a tortoise?
And that is the very question that we posed to all three of you guys. Mike, you went with the tortoise.
Doggone it.
Just afraid
Go Terps.
It's not a tortoise.
Yeah. The tortoise lost this race.
Miles, you went with the parrot. You said it sounds fun. I agree.
A lot of parrot heads in the Carolinas. No?
But not a parrot. Ted, no reason anyone should own a pet raccoon, but this is the U.S. We do what we want, right?
Come on. Was the snake?
It was, in fact, a snake.
Well, then how did they know it was like a pet snake and not just a... I mean, North Carolina has a lot of snakes.
I don't know, and that's the weird thing about it. So the cop came out, pulled... So half of the snake was sticking out of the grill. The cop got it out, and they're like, we'll take it to a sanctuary. We think it's someone's pet. So I don't...
It was really friendly.
Maybe it was a boa or something that's not native that people do keep. I don't know.
That's kind of wild. The cop's just like, no worries, I got it.
Yeah, basically that was it. No panic, nothing.
Now for all TV news all time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, so obviously we were talking the other day about Aaron Rodgers. Well, yesterday. I shouldn't say the other day. We were saying Aaron Rodgers got injured. I did see he was guaranteed. He got injured 4 plays into his career with the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. I did see, I guess he signed, it was like $75 million guaranteed.
$75 million guaranteed. So he's going to get $75 million to play 4 plays.
Well, the Jets, I did see something. I haven't read the article. I just saw the headline that said, like, the Jets probably have insurance, so they'd only have to pay him, like, half. But still, for 45 seconds of work.
Right. Even half, think about it. I got paid $37.5 million. What'd you do? I hurt myself 4 plays, the first 4 plays into a football game. I made $37.5. We will never make that in our life.
Yeah. So there's a bar in Wisconsin that was like, and Aaron Rodgers, if you don't know, obviously played his entire career in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. So this bar said, every time the Jets lose, we will pay your bar tab. Now, obviously, all this summer, all the hype, we were talking about it again yesterday, was just how good the Jets are going to be. They weren't going to lose. So this is a news report from a bar. Now, it'll sound a little harsh because people are cheering when he gets injured. But they're also mainly cheering because now they're like, they're going to pay this tab. And then the second half of this clip will be people reacting to the Jets returning that punt and actually winning and realizing they have to pay.
So there's a loud roar when Rodgers leaves the game hurt in the first quarter.
And the mood has changed considerably. That is because the Jets just won the game on a long touchdown in overtime. You could take a look. This is the reaction from a bar where people are realizing the bar tabs they've been racking up all night. The bar was going to be paying that tab. It is setting in. They were going to have to go to the bar and pay that tab.
Bar wins.
Ooh, that's funny as hell.
That's a crappy Tuesday at work.
It is, man. Not only
great Monday night for the bar.
That bar made money. The difference is they don't have to spend any of it. Yeah, those people have to be like, I just charge another I bought rounds for everybody here, right? If I'm confident that I'm going to get my free bar tab, Dad, you want a shot? I'll get 2 of them. Who's your friend over there? Get 3 more for them. Everyone was doing it.
And now we're not just out watching, like, say, a half of Monday Night Football. Now that we think we're getting our tab paid, we're staying out. We're living it up.
Now,
right.
Ted, am I mistaken in thinking that the past couple of years, Monday Night Football has kicked off with 2 games?
Traditionally, it has. But this year, there was only 1, and there's 2 games Monday coming up.
So they just moved it.
They just moved.
Okay, because I was going to ask you. I looked at that before we do our picks here for the happy hour, and I'm like, why are they playing 2 on this Monday night?
I don't know. I haven't looked into that one enough. It could just be scheduling issue because a couple years ago, Mike and I were getting really into. It was the summertime. We were looking at football. We were really getting into like the schedule release or something, and when they tell you who you're going to play, but the schedule release lets you know when and where. I saw a whole thing on NFL Films, I believe, or inside the NFL, those people are wizards, right? Because even think about this. Do you guys know what's going on tonight at Lumen Field? Beyonce.
Oh, God, right.
Correct. But with summer tours and
Mike just told me.
My wife just told you it's tomorrow.
I had no idea.
Is it tomorrow,
I had no idea.
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. See, Mike, you screwed
I actually asked my wife today. She kept bringing up the Beyonce thing. And I was like, why do you care? Neither of us are Beyonce fans, right? And I go, why do you care so much? Mom, she's playing. She goes, traffic. That's it. So it is tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. They were putting out a lot of stuff today. But I'm just saying, between that, and I know last year was the first year that people were really going back to the stadiums after the pandemics and everything. So it never dawned on me that, right. And then look at Seattle, right? You have the Seattle Sounders FC who play in that stadium. There's a lot of other NFL teams who share them. New England, Patriots share with the New England
Seattle
Revolution.
Sea Dragons, son of a bitch.
They don't play during football season. I'm saying to make the schedule. During the real football season. So there might be a chance that they just had to move those Monday night games, or honestly, they might have just said, "Hell,
who knows?
It's Aaron Rodgers. We'll think we get such a big audience. We don't need 2 games."
Well, this Monday they staggered the games by 1 hour.
That's generally what they do.
Oh, okay.
Or no.
So I thought it was
an hour and a half.
I thought you got halftime.
Halftime of one game to go to the next.
ABC and ESPN.
I should have stuck with. I don't know why they changed it or why they're doing it.
I don't know either. That's why I'm
trying to give a theory.
I have no idea.
All right. Yesterday, I sat here and I was talking about it'd be cool to see NSYNC back together. So they did show up at the VMAs. Now, they didn't perform a song or anything. Seemed kind of crazy, too. Nicki Minaj announced them. Then they just came out to give out an award. Now, Taylor Swift won the award, but Taylor Swift, like we said, probably the biggest musical artist right now.
Easily. Right.
Well, Beyonce's up there.
I believe Beyonce is, but I do feel like they are the 2 biggest. I just give the edge to Taylor Swift because there's something weird about her where people are so much more.
Oh, sure. And I'm saying, I think she probably is, but Beyonce's right there. But Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift wants anything in the world. She could have it. The finest caviar, right? Champagne.
The finest
That's
caviar.
where my mind goes. I don't even like caviar. I'm positive I've had it a bunch.
I don't think rich people do. It's just I'm going to eat it anyway.
Right. You could order the finest caviar from wherever you get the good stuff from. I think it's Russia. The finest champagne from the Champagne region of France. All this stuff. So she's used to being Taylor Swift. But it's kind of funny. NSYNC goes out there. She wins the award. And she's just kind of fangirling out.
And the VMA goes to the unstoppable Taylor Swift.
I had your dolls. What, are you doing something? What's gonna happen now? What are you, there's something they're gonna do something, and I need to know what it is. You guys you're pop personified, so to receive this from your golden pop hands it's too much. Thank you for the friendship bracelets.
That's cool that she acknowledges her musical influence.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It's just different to see her not be the most biggest star in the world.
Also, she still wins everything, right? Video of the year, song of the year, artist of the year, best pop video of the year.
I didn't even know the VMAs were going on last night, but if you said, who do you think is going to win? I would just say Taylor Swift. That's what she does.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And nowadays she gets to give our whole thank you speech, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. That's because he's in Italy.
Also, the best rock video. I'm going to get in trouble. Main Skin?
Monoskin, yeah.
The loneliest. Rock needs to get back up there. It'd be cool to see like Aaron Jones doing good. Maybe his song get that popular. And I watched another show on ESPN last night, and I was laying in bed. Part of the reason I didn't go to sleep about like sports and hip hop and this and that. But a big part of it, they were just saying like, look, as a lot of these athletes are getting super popular in the late 80s and 90s, like all of a sudden, like hip hop doesn't really scare people as much as it did. Right. I'm one of those kids, right? As hip hop is getting and rap is getting massive, like we were white kids, right? Like it's PG County, but I still grew up in the suburbs, and like we listened to it, so it was a lot more mainstream. So it's just like it was all rock before that, this and that. So it'd be nice to see more contemporary, rock stars and rock bands like on these award shows and kicking butt.
It will happen because every decade has this thing, right? So there was hair metal, which is when rock blew up. It was saying about drinking Jack Daniels, having sex with chicks. And hip-hop comes up, dominates. It's about drinking Hennessy or Cristal.
Correct.
And having sex with chicks. This is country's time, where this is the hair metal version of country. It's not an insult. It's just the truth of what it is. And we sing about having a good time, sleeping with girls. I don't know what other genre. I believe it would come back to rock, because you start over again, and then it go back to hip-hop, and then back to country, because pop, as we call pop, Lady Gaga and all that kind of thing, is always a constant. But it seems like these specific genres, they get their 10 or 15-year run, right, where you speak to the youth, you speak about rebelling, you speak about the things that people want to see, things that you want to improve, or just what life is. Rock was that, then hip-hop was that, now country's that. I think it comes around, but country right now is on a great run.
It's funny, old country, if you like rap, you'd be like, oh, the old heads. But same with the old school people that love country. There's a lot of. The one thing they agree on is neither of them like either of it. Right. Like if you like rap how I grew up, like some of the mumble rap, you're just like, I don't get it. And a lot of people that grew up on country, now look, I like the poppy country, they hate it.
But you're getting introduced to country, and I get that. But the same thing with rock. When hair metal came out,
bro country,
bro country, and it's inevitable. It's the truth. It's human nature. And when you have your moment, take advantage. And country is taking advantage. They should run with this.
Man, they're great with their fans, like Taylor Swift. Like, there's a number of artists that I think really do a great job of embracing their fan base and kind of just being available in a weird way. Where rock is still the guys just sit in their tour bus all night, go play their shows, don't really promote their stuff.
Right.
They just kind of are like, we're rock. We don't do that. Where the other artists, they do. They go out and do things. They pop up every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, and even, look, we work in the industry, but, everybody I know that works at country stations, they're like, oh, the artists are great to work with.
Damn, 30 listeners. Sorry, my bad. But you can't. I mean, we don't have that accessibility.
We don't now, but we did. That's what I'm saying. I'm old enough to have seen the cycle go through, and you go right, these are the three main genres of music where that's what people are going to hit. This is country's time. Let them have it.
And truthfully, any of the massive rock bands we've ever interviewed, most of them, like the lead singer and the main guys show up.
Yeah.
It's rare. You got to go out of your way. And I get it. Some of the other bands are kind of young and up and coming. So they're just going to be more emotional and a little more volatile. And
absolutely
might want to do something one day, might not want to do it another day. Right. Or do it on one tour, not on another. But they're still in that zone.
Yeah.
So I just think sometimes, obviously, I work at a rock station, but you watch the Grammys and this and that, I don't know. Look, at this point, it'd be cool just to see Avenged Sevenfold go out there with all the pyro.
Yeah.
And just, crush something on there. You know what I mean? Because you're always, and this is no offense to these people, but look, Slash is Slash. All right? He was in a Michael Jackson video. He's going to show up at the Grammys, I'd say, every 5 years because some new pop star is going to be oh, I have to have Slash on here.
Yeah, of course.
But it'd be nice to see, just to one of the newer bands.
Or just make a song that's got an appeal to it for a lot of people. So, like, just don't make it so, like, we want to get harder on this one or do this or whatever.
But that's what it is. That's what country's figured out, which is, like, we don't have to do, quote-unquote, country as older folks recognize country. Just get your twanging guitar, do a dumbass accent, and you make your song popular. Rock did it for years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, we'll just act like we're rock guys. Poison, right? You're a pop group. But understand the audience is going to buy your crap and do your thing. And you know what? Credit to you, man. It means you're smart and you want to make that money.
Rock band's covering Fast Car from Tracy Chapman.
Exactly.
But a country artist does it, and it's huge.
Yeah, right. And I mean, he just did it because his dad loved the song. He loves the song.
He sang that song several times. Like, that was one of his number one covers. That when he was just on Vine and putting that out, like, he was already putting out Fast Car. He loved it when he was that young, and he just kept on playing it.
All right, this is kind of a crazy one. An office used by Disney's advertising department in New York City is allegedly and ironically infested with mice.
Hello.
And fleas as well.
Okay. So Jiminy Cricket and Mickey. I know he's a cricket. I know he's a cricket, but they're still a nuisance.
How about Flea from the Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
So cool bass and a high-pitched mouse that makes kids happy.
I'd listen to that record.
Hey, kids, I teamed up with Flea.
Oh, hey, Flea. Drop that bass line for me.
Vocalists can just name states, you know.
An email was sent.
California.
West Virginia.
I'm better than Cadence. An email was sent to staff Monday. Told them to immediately leave the affected floor and either work from home or relocate to another part of the building until further notice. My first thought, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, like, Disney is like one of the biggest companies in the world. How is this happening?
Yeah.
A source says, quote, the current Disney ABC buildings are set to be demolished and new high-rises are going to go up, so there's no incentive for upkeep. At any given moment, most of the elevators are broken, causing lots of irritation. And look, you see mice on the street. I don't know. You're sitting. Look,
that's the Disney hardcore,
right? Disney or not, right? Street. You're in the advertising department, this or that. You're probably you probably do some cool coloring, but you're also sitting in a cubicle. You don't want a mouse running over your foot, right? Like, listen, I'm in New York City. I can barely afford this apartment. I'm used to the mice there, but not at work. This is, this is supposed to be a place of fun. Well, not fun, but clarity.
The second happiest place on earth.
Clarity.
I don't know, man. I just feel like I would be more annoyed. If I find a mouse in my house, I'm annoyed with myself. If I find a mice at work, I'm raising hell. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
These working conditions are awful.
You don't pay me enough to deal with the mice in my home, but certainly you make enough money to deal with them here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's all.
I ain't doing that crap.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Tennessee man pulls out an AK-47 when his Little Caesars pizza takes too long to cook. Meanwhile, video catches a Miami TSA agent going through bags and all of the things that he took. Volunteers offer to head to Portugal to help drink the streets. Electronic road sign in Houston suggested you should take care of yourself under the sheets. And a carjacker attempts to flee from police before crashing into their office. It's time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
Top story. We're going to Texas where it took... where it looks like one of our own has gotten into some hackery.
One of our own.
We may have covered this a little bit earlier today. Public Works crews in Houston were alerted to one of their signs that had clearly been broken into as it displayed the same message for hours with one screen reading, quote, due to weather, before turning to the next screen where it simply said, go F yourself.
I think that's great.
I love it. Public Works claims that they are not the ones who operate the sign, and officials are still trying to track down the owner. What we do know is the lock on the system's box is still intact and undamaged, which could mean the suspect is either an employee or just has some very savvy skills.
So really, Houston felt they needed to point out, we wouldn't say that. We know.
We know, dude.
Of course.
Right.
It is not our policy to put profanity on the construction
signs. For you to go F yourself in bad weather.
Even though we all kind of chuckled when we saw it.
Meanwhile, over in Massachusetts, a carjacker managed to take some of the hard work off the authorities. Police got the description of the car that the man in his 50s had swiped and eventually caught up with the vehicle, leading to a chase. The man stormed down the road to evade officers, running at high speeds and running through red lights in order to shake them off his tail. Unfortunately, in his efforts, he managed to collide with another car out on the road, causing him to lose control and come to a crashing stop at the Manchester Police Department.
Yeah.
He now faces several charges. Gotta love when they do the hard work for you.
I think that's great.
Absolutely. That was wet.
Yeah, it's out a little.
Better than mine, it's dry.
Well, hey,
I'm like spitting sand, dude.
Wet Wednesday.
It's Wet Wednesday, Ted.
Ted, the way you say it makes me uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you.
Good.
That's how I like it.
Just wait.
I like
Just wait. You know what's coming up in a few months.
I like him uncomfortable.
Damp December.
Jeez. We need to make that a thing.
No, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know that we do.
It's day one of Damp December. Use your own imagination.
Moist March.
This would be a great year.
This would be fantastic, dude. Swampy September, day 13.
Still haven't washed your chains. Sitting under a heat lamp.
Luckily, it rains. And it's only 65 degrees.
I think the people
like
next
85.
to me can smell it.
What's October?
Give me time.
Give me time. And we need something for November.
Coming up on the happy hour. To Tennessee, where a man pulled a weapon due to some false advertising. He'd gone to his local Little Caesars, where they famously serve hot and ready pizzas, Ted.
Pizza.
And ordered himself a pepperoni pizza. Unfortunately for him, none were actually ready at the time of his arrival, and he was told that he'd have to wait about 10 minutes for his order. Incensed, the man demanded a free order of delicious crazy bread for having to wait such an unreasonable amount of time, which no. When that didn't work, he did what any logical person would do. He stormed out to his truck, recovered his AK-47 rifle, and pointed it at the workers. One of whom it was for her first day on the job. The man is not
that's going to cook the pizza faster.
I was going to say, what do you think you accomplished by doing whatever? Doesn't matter.
It's free crazy bread. That's what. That's it for headlines with that. Mike Hawk is out.
See you next time for Return of Big Dummy, and the head chef is back with Ted's Meat and Potatoes.
Yes, indeed. It's all true. But in the meantime, well, we be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
At Casper, we love all things sleep, so we thought it would be fitting to make a sale that covers, well, everything. Save up to 25% on mattresses and up to 50% on everything else you need for better sleep at Casper.com or a store near you through October 24th. Exclusions apply. See Casper.com/prices.